A moment of silence. Pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, indicating the time and the place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call.
Councilman Del Caro.
Here.
Councilwoman Page.
Here.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Here.
Council President Chesler.
Here.
And Jay.
Here. Okay, I make a motion that we come out of go into executive session.
Go out. Do we have to, we have to come out now?
I thought we would come out. Yeah. Oh, you want
He
to
went
go in
back
now?
in.
That's
No,
right.
I can go forward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. All right, make a resolution to come out of executive session. A motion to come out of executive session. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah, usually that's okay.
So we were in executive session for about a half hour, during which time we discussed 6 matters. The first matter was regarding potential negotiation tactics for payment of funds for the costs incurred relating to the sinkhole which occurred in township property. Second matter was for potential property acquisition relating to the preservation of the sanitary sewer line. The third matter was relating to a personnel matter, authorizing and discussing the issuance of a rice notice. 2 other matters related to potential litigation against the township. Those are listed on your agenda. And the 6th matter was matters relating to public safety and the ambulance squad. No action was taken. And if you're wondering why you only see 2 matters on your agenda, but we talked about 6 prior to going into executive session, we did an oral amendment to the resolution listing the first 5. The 6th one came up during executive session. It was proper for executive session, and that was related to the ambulance squad and emergency matters.
All right, thank you. I guess I want to open public comment for agenda items only. Make a resolution, make a motion to open public comment.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment is open. Ms. Juniper.
Thank you. Juniper Lifer, 52 Jade Lane. A couple of things on here. First, as chairman of the Environmental Commission, obviously I needed to come in and ask about this ordinance. I had seen it on the agenda when it was posted, but unfortunately I really haven't had time. I've been swamped with work, so I haven't had a chance to look into it at all. And now I'm just looking at it for the first time. So if you could just clarify for me what's being changed in the ordinance?
We're just, I just updated it to match the statute. I had to do the same thing for shade tree. Our 2 ordinances do not match the state statutes. And what happens is the state statute actually overrides an ordinance. So right now our shade tree, for instance, is operating under the state statute because of the number of people that we have. However, so it doesn't match the ordinance. So I'm changing that ordinance, not just the state statute. The same with your commission. We only had that it was 7 members, but according to the state statute, you can have no less than 5, no more than 7, and you're allowed 2 alternates.
You're allowed to.
Yes.
But you don't need, you're not required to have 2.
No, you're not. But as long as this way, since you just established your commission, this way we're in line with the state statute.
Listen, let
But
me
you have
be
more
clear.
people.
Let me just, I'm the chairman, so I
Yeah.
feel like I need to represent for the commission, and I've been working very hard to do a
Right.
good job.
Mhm.
I hope that you realize
Oh
that.
yeah.
That I really feel like I, represent an excellent opportunity for this township to
Right.
maximize the whole role
Mhm.
of the commission and my role as chairman. You may not realize, I know you know that I work in the environmental field locally, but I also work with environmental commissioners all over the
Mhm.
state. Actually, I work with environmental commissioners throughout the Delaware River water basin. So what I do is really explain to environmental commissioners regularly what is contained in that statute, what
Right.
the laws are that regulate their commissions,
Mhm.
and what their powers are. So I am quite familiar with the process. I'm very familiar. It's part of what my job is. So generally, an ordinance that controls a environmental commission does allow for, 5 to 7 members. And alternates are a potential option.
Right.
They're certainly not required.
No, they're not
Usually
required.
alternates exist when there's a 5-member commission because, you need to make sure that you have a quorum. In our case, we already have 7 members
Right.
on our commission. So it's not really a need. So I'm sure you understand that for right now, it feels to me a little bit from the outside looking in, like this is some kind of a monkey wrenching activity.
I'm just
And
trying
it
to
just,
get it
and it's, I know it's not
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can show you this, environmental ordinance. This is a model ordinance that I bring to environmental commissions all over the place in order to tell them how it needs to be written as a good example. And there's nothing in this model ordinance that refers to any kind of alternates. There is a little star at the bottom that says, if you're interested in that, there's some other information there.
Right.
But it's not a part of the main standard ordinance. So that reference to the legislation requiring that is absolutely not true.
Well, the state
and-
statute says that you can have.
You can have it.
Yeah.
So I understand that
Right.
it's legal for you
Yeah.
to rewrite the ordinance to put
Right.
alternates on that the mayor doesn't appoint and that the governing body appoints.
Well, the mayor is part of the governing body, so you
Right,
can make the
I
appointments.
understand.
Yeah.
But I guess my point to you is that it really feels to me that the Environmental Commission ordinance has existed for quite some time. The laws haven't changed at all since the passing of the ordinance. And the existing commission that has been in the township under that ordinance while you've been, a councilwoman for a couple of years, has not at all upheld the standards of that ordinance.
Right.
And
I
for
would-
me,
Okay, finish that.
I just really I would like the chance. I would like the chance to do a good job and to come through without it being disrupted. Give me the opportunity to prove to the council that the ordinance is either good or not good enough to control the commission at this point. Really, it comes down to good intentions, and this to me really feels disingenuous. It feels like you're trying to interject people in order to offer some kind of control, and I think that if the existing commission has existed for so long without meeting the standards of the ordinance in any way, shape, or form, that it's not really shameful for me to say, you know what, give me the opportunity, give me 6 months, give me a year, to show you what I can do with the ordinance the way it's set up now. Give me a chance, and then if I have not served you well, and if you feel that you need to interject in additional people, or if I feel that we need to have additional people, we can revisit that matter later. But right now, I do have an understanding of the laws, and I do have an understanding of the ordinance, and I know that this is not necessary. And I would really, really, really appreciate you guys having a little bit of faith in me and having a little bit of faith in my commitment to this township and my knowledge in the area of the environment and the issues that an environmental commission, controls. One of the things I have to say, Lori, Lou, you guys have told me many times that you agree with my sentiment and that you want to see everybody put their best foot forward and you want to see everybody come together. Don't monkey wrench my commission right now just because I'm on it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem necessary. So that's my appeal to you, to please give me the opportunity. And if in some period of time you feel that it is not working well, you can always cross this bridge at that time. Is that all that's changed in it?
That's all that changed. Just what I'm trying to do, and it's just one of these things. It's once I see something and I know we're not in line with it, I just want to.
You are in line with the law.
I have no intentions of naming anybody. If you have 2 people you want to name, just, bring them to us.
Right.
Then you have 9 people, at least you always know.
Yeah, I understand. I guess it's the impression of it right now, and because of the circumstances and because of the contentious nature of the meetings and the way this goes, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. But right now, it just feels like it could possibly be something that's, like I said, meant to monkey wrench. And I would feel better if we just didn't make any changes right now, because I can assure you that we are currently in accordance with the law in every way, shape, or form. And I will offer you these materials for your review, because what these materials do, this is offered by the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions, and their purpose is to kind of humanize the language and to help ordinary people who volunteer on these commissions understand the laws. So it does put it in sort of layman's terms, and it does supply the legislation, and it does supply a model ordinance, and you'll see that we are in line currently with our existing ordinance. So that's that. That's how I feel about that. Like I said, it feels just a little odd. I came in after the last meeting And believe you me, I put a great deal of time into making sure that our commission is effective and that it works well for the township. And when I stopped in to follow up on the meeting the next day, I guess I was here at the same time as Donna was here, and at the same time Tom was here. And Ms. McCabe accused me of coming in to stage some kind of a coup, or accused the mayor of such. And then when I sort of asked what was going on, she thought I had been called in.
You keep your comments to the agenda.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of my whole point. I'm trying to explain why I feel like this is a little bit of a monkey wrenching, because I don't want to be harassed when I come into the building.
Well,
And
that's why I don't want to get into this right now.
Right,
I'm
okay.
harassing you, but this isn't part of the agenda. so
Well, everybody's familiar with the ferocity with which you speak, and I just was,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, but
I understand.
That's a
Okay.
comment at the end.
No, okay, that's fine, I understand. Okay, and so the other thing that is on the agenda, I think, is the arrow ordinance, or the arrow question. I had sent out a copy of my request, that way you could all take a look at it, so you know exactly what I was asking for. The last time we discussed it, Laura, you'd mentioned something about broad-tip arrows, so I just wanted to make sure you guys understand, I do not want to put broad-tip arrows in the hands of a Cub Scout in this town, and would never even think to do so.
It's round tip, correct?
Yeah, it's round tip, it's the little kitty
The little,
arrows.
yeah, the little.
But they go into hay as opposed
Yeah.
to bouncing off a wood target. And I think there's one more thing I missed when I was talking about the Environmental Commission, and that was that you had suggested that we might want a liaison, that it would help us to work and communicate with council.
Yeah.
I put that on the floor at our last commission meeting, and everybody agreed, so the vote did pass, and we would like for the council to assign us a liaison.
And
So-
also look at your webpage. I know it's off topic, but just look at your webpage. If there's anything you want on there, just.
And I think that the listing of our commissioners still needs to be changed.
Yeah,
but
I need
haven't
to
looked
list.
at it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so just that's the only other thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about item number 4. Do I have to give my name?
Yes.
Eric Johnson, 361 Stonehenge Drive. Are we talking about the pool membership rates?
Not to number 4. Which,
Number 4 on the
There are
old
many agendas. So
Three?
You're gonna have to
Oh,
read it.
sorry.
4 o'clock p.m. agenda?
we're not talking about pool. We're going to hold that off for another.
Okay, so
we
that's
can-
not
yeah,
on the.
Yeah, no.
So I guess I would like to talk a
just wanna
little
do
bit
the
about
parking.
it. So my question is should I talk a little bit about it now, or should I hold it back to the end? I just want to go over a couple of things that we talked about in the rec commission.
I think
But-
because it's on the agenda, you can talk about it now.
I should do it now?
Yeah.
Okay. And I do want to talk about it now because I don't know if I'm going to be here on the next meeting, and I'm probably going to be not around a lot of on vacation.
I just wanted
So,
to thank you first for everything you did.
Oh, yeah, sure. So thank you. As everybody remembers, I was doing some research on the pool fees. And once I compiled my research, I talked to Lori and the recreational committee about it. Actually, talked about it in great detail
Yes.
Monday night. Took a little bit too longer than we wanted. And I came up with some suggestions and modified those suggestions as we discussed in the recreational committee. And I wanted to summarize them real quick so everybody knows. Now, does everybody have a copy?
Yes.
We
Oh.
just got them tonight when we got to the dais.
Is it a nice clean color copy? Because I made some that work. It's pretty.
No, it's not.
Mine is pretty.
Well, yeah, I'll
Black and white.
also work you just to. And Beth, do you have one too?
I do.
Okay.
The other one's in black and white.
They're
the long
okay.
one, but
Well,
this
I don't need them,
one-
so
No, we have. No.
I'm just gonna throw them away. So after looking at the numbers, some of my findings that I noticed, before I talked to recreational committee, was that the membership rates for the residents and the non-residents vary tremendously between 11% and 28% differential. The break-even point for memberships vary between 10 and 22 visits. So I saw some inconsistencies between these items, which I wanted to address. And I noticed that the rates for the memberships and pool passes increased 15% since 2010, but yet the income from these passes and memberships have decreased 10% since 2011. So I wanted to try to address that too. And I remind you, it's just recommendations. Obviously, you guys have to take it to the next level. Since 2011, our memberships have dropped 29%, and our daily pass income has increased, but it's only increased 7%. So we're not quite making up what we're losing on the memberships. So the goals of our recommendation when we were done talking about it in the committee were to make a consistent differential between the residents and non-residents for the pool, and also to create a consistency for a break-even point on how many times you have to go before the membership, basic break-even principle. I wanted to keep our rates attractive. I wanted to keep them competitive with the surrounding pools, and I want to see an increase in attendance. So that was the main goals. We accomplished this, or at least it's our opinion that we were going to accomplish this by a minor decrease in the rates and consistent differentials between the residents and non-residents, and also an addition of a few rate categories. And you can look at it, on the handout at your leisure. Financially, yes, I did say decrease rates is my suggestion. If I take exactly the same amount of people that are signed up for memberships now and daily passes and take that rate into account, we're going to look at a 9% decrease in our income to the pool. It sounds like a lot, but I believe this is going to be 100% offset by the additional people we're going to get into the pool because of our attractive rates and the improvements that we're making. It may take 2 years. It might not happen in the first year, but I believe it's the best interest for the longevity of the pool. Some of the other suggestions that I made to increase attendance were bringing back 3 and under free for kids. Infants 3 and under should be free. They shouldn't be paying $7.50. I want to see a child and senior rate for the daily pass, not a one-size-fits-all. We want to include students under the family plan, just as they're included under insurance, under families. An early bird special for adults and senior citizens before it's open to kids, and a twilight rate after 5 o'clock p.m., which would be great to bring in everybody. I know, for one, I'm not coming to the pool at $7.50 a head at 6 o'clock. Arguably, the most important, in my opinion, is we need the daily passes tracked. We need to know who's coming in and what category they fit under. It's 4 simple categories. We have resident, non-resident, child, or adult, and that will help us know in a couple years down the road, if we need to make adjustments, we'll have the data to make the adjustments and keep the pool lucrative. That pretty much sums what's on the handout. I really want to thank everybody, giving me the opportunity to take a look at these numbers, giving me the opportunity to help out the community and do what I can. And the pool is an important part of our community. I'd like to see it around forever. It's tremendous. And further discussions are between you. I might not be involved. I may be involved. I welcome to be involved if I'm around. But if not, that's everything I have. And really, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do it.
Thank you, Eric. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Eric.
it. All the hard work. Like, Beth was supposed to meet with us, but she was sick. So if we could try to, yeah.
And if I'm not there, I think, actually, I might not be. So
Okay, yes, I'll go over this in depth.
I'll be visiting Mickey now, so you
Oh,
guys
yes,
can
I
have
know.
one.
Well, we could come with you.
Peter?
Sorry.
Olszewski, Highlands Way. I would like to add to Juniper's comments. I assume our council has looked if these 2 ordinances need to be rewritten because they comply with state law. And I would like to ask if they are not necessary to be rewritten. I assume writing ordinances costs a fair deal of money. And if there's not a real need for it, with sinkholes and all the stuff we have going on, I think we should save as much money as we can. So I would refer to council that these ordinances are really need to be rewritten and, or if we.
I don't think council reviewed these.
I reviewed them. I didn't draft them. I reviewed them.
Yeah.
You reviewed them? Okay. It appeared to me that one of them, the shade tree, probably needed to be updated because it called for 3 members and it was way out of date. The other one, I don't think it has to be done. I mean, as Juniper pointed out, the township can add alternates, but to go through the expense of putting through an ordinance for something like that, I'm not sure. I mean, we have to publish it, and I think that's the big cost, right? Putting it in the newspaper, it costs a lot of money. Yeah, that's my view on it. So.
Joe Imhoff, 240 Aurora Street. Under new business, item 5, rent leveling board. At the town council meeting March 4th, Mr. Hall made mention that the ordinance establishing the rent leveling board was going to expire on the 7th, as it does every 3 years unless action is taken by council to extend it. Since it is now March 18th, does that mean that officially, as we stand here tonight, that there is no rent control board?
The ordinance expired on March 7th, 2015. It was not reconstituted. It expires automatically every 3 years. So technically, yes.
It's
Is it 20
expired.
days after though? Is it 20? Because if we The March 7th date, was that the date that it was the second reading way back when? And then would it, I don't, it's just the semantics because we're still going to be over, but is it 20 days after that it went into effect?
The estoppel period?
Yeah. So is it March 7th or March 27th?
March 27th.
Okay.
27.
So that's the actual date to expire.
So what you're doing tonight is not recreating.
No, it's just doing, it's a, every 3 years, this ordinance needs to be.
Expires. I'll go on anyway, because I think it applies. Over the last 5 months, I researched a lot of rent leveling boards or rent control boards around the country in the state of New Jersey. And what I found out was there's only 4 states, including New Jersey, that have rent control, not on a state level, but that can be enacted locally. 4 states in the District of Columbia. In New Jersey, only 95 of 565 municipalities have rent control. That's 17% of the municipalities in New Jersey. Out of the 4 counties in northwest New Jersey, Morris, Hunterdon, Sussex, and Warren, comprising 111 communities, only 2 have rent control, us and Morristown. They have rent control for apartments. There are 2 other municipalities who only have rent control for mobile home parks. Morristown is a community of 20,000 people, high density, several hundred apartments, low apartment vacancy. Morristown is not quite Lopatcong Township. 2 out of 111 communities in northwest New Jersey, and we are one of them. Further, the Rent Leveling Board in 2013 in Lopatcong Township only conducted 3 meetings out of the 6 scheduled by the ordinance. In 2014, only 1 meeting was conducted out of the 6 scheduled by the ordinance. That would suggest to me that there is either no business to be conducted, no one is interested in conducting business, or there's a lack of transparency in the workings of this board. What further concerned me was that what was recorded in the minutes of the March 21st, 2013 meeting. It was a discussion regarding possible planning board or zoning violations at Delaware crossings. And I quote from the minutes of that meeting, Attorney Campbell, "You can tell her after. So I'd say I'll address it with council and see what avenue they want to go. If they want me to handle it or him to handle it or the planning board to handle it, well, we'll let them. I meant to actually raise this with them at their last meeting, and I just forgot to ask to have it put on the agenda. So I have it right here in my notes. Chairman DeVos, you're going to do it in executive, right? Attorney Campbell, yes. Chairman DeVos, oh, thank God. I don't want it out in the public. I don't want it out in the public. Look, if this is all about getting people to vote for you, we need to let the Rent Leveling Board die a peaceful death. If this is about changing the ordinance to benefit Salem management and not the renters at that complex, then we need to let this thing go away. If we have people who don't want to have their actions get out in public, then we've got the wrong people. I recommend and strongly urge this council to review the entire concept of a rent leveling board that many townships in the state are getting rid of. Only 1 of 2 in the 4-county area. We really need to decide if we want to go ahead with this before rubber stamping an amendment that is 35 years old and continuing with something that very few municipalities in our area have. Peaburg doesn't have it, Alpha doesn't have it, White Township doesn't have it, Mansfield Township doesn't have it, and they all have larger complexes than we do. Let's look at this thing before we rubber stamp it and put it through again. Let's clean up the mess now while we have a chance. And on another note, at the January 16th, 2014 meeting of the Rent Leveling Board, and nothing against Phyllis, but they gave her a 5-year contract as secretary of the board. At that point, the Rent Leveling Board, their life was only from January of 2014 to a week ago Saturday. How could they give her a 5-year contract? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
I only have one response. I know that I believe, and Beth's the only one who's going to know up here, but there was a huge contentious. I mean, this was like so volatile with the rents, and that's why the rent leveling board was brought in. And it wasn't, I don't know, did it go out to referendum? I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember either, but I know that the control is a big concern to the seniors.
Yes, that's what I was just about to add. I talk to them
Very
regularly.
grateful
Yes,
for the rent leveling board.
extremely grateful.
Well, we'll get more to that when it gets onto we get to that on the agenda. Andy, how you doing?
Andy Moore and 13 Windsor Lane. The reason I'm here is last meeting, I showed up to make sure certain checks were being paid for basketball. But when I was in the back, I did hear some comments that were made here. And one of the comments was about the taxes over the last number of years. And I know many of you ran criticizing past administrations on how much they tax people. And yet during the meeting, all I heard was, well, they didn't tax enough. And so I want you to keep that in mind when you're going through the budget, that was some of the things that you guys ran on about keeping taxes down because of what had been done in the past. Because I think that is very important. Just to go through history a little bit, as you know, in 2008, the economy tanked. And a lot of people that we know lost jobs, have had to take jobs that might not pay as much, doing two jobs, or have wages that are stagnant. And a lot of you understand that there's an importance to the town having some type of surplus. Please keep in mind that many people in the public do not have a surplus. And, and that's something that's ongoing. So I'd ask you to keep that in mind while you're going through your budget process. I know it's difficult, but I ask you to keep that in mind. In terms of Mayor McKay, I know that you've been making appointments, and I understand that's your right to do so, obviously. But I guess the question I have is the standard that you're applying based on the past, are you concerned about like an appearance of conflict, or is it just a flat out conflict in terms of your appointments?
No, it's not a conflict at all.
How about, are you also concerned if there's an appearance of conflict or not?
I don't know how you would say it's an appearance. Would you explain?
Well, I don't want to call people out, so I'm not going to do that, like name names, but I'd like to talk to you just about a couple. That's not now, but off the record, I guess. If that's okay.
That's fine.
All right. And then finally, there's nothing to do that these leaders copy arrows. Is there? I don't know. I know there's some type of change, but should the insurance company be contacted? Or something?
We did.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Covered.
Thank you, Andy.
Marla ending.
Marlandic, 10 Byron Drive. I've appealed to council on multiple occasions to have meeting agendas posted in appropriate time frame to allow for public viewing. Once again, the agenda for tonight's meeting was not posted until a few hours prior to tonight's meeting and includes some very important issues. Proposed new ordinances, I believe there are 5 on the agenda, and resolutions. People look to the website for this information so that they can determine for themselves if they would like to attend based on the issues being discussed and actions being taken. They have to make arrangements to be here if it is of interest. I understand that up to this point, Councilwoman Chesla has volunteered to post information to the website. I believe that although that is a very nice gesture, that Ms. Chesla has volunteered to do so, the posting of official township business, such as agendas, minutes, videos, policies, board representatives, and corresponding terms of those representatives should not be the responsibility of either a council person and/or a volunteer. These are matters of official township record, and as such, this should be the responsibility of either a township employee or a contractor who can be held accountable for the work. I respectfully request that council look into more appropriate options for this work to continue. I would be happy to volunteer time to research available options if that would be of any assistance. So that's what I want to say about that. And then I have a quick question on the proposed new ordinances on the agenda. Are those ordinances available in print for the public, or will they be read out loud when you get to discuss them?
They'll be posted. We started a new ordinance page, so they'll be posted. They're usually not read, but they are also published.
Okay.
I mean, but we put them on our website. And to that, I can only post things that I have.
Okay.
And I got the agenda, the official posting of the agenda today, and I actually
Lori,
changed it 3 times.
This is totally not about you. My entire
I
point
don't know,
is,
it's kinda
no,
sound
it's
like about
not.
me.
I don't think any volunteer or unpaid person should be responsible for posting official township business on a website. I can give you numerous other options and ways that could be done, but I just think it's very inappropriate. And you know,
How is it inappropriate?
How many times has the agenda not been posted
If
until
I
maybe?
don't have it, I can't post
I
it.
understand that. It's not about
Right.
you. There should be
Yes.
an employee whose job, and they're being measured and evaluated for their job performance for posting the agenda. It should be part
No,
of someone's
the
job.
agenda has to be created to be posted.
Okay. Moving on, I think the point has been made. So the question is, you're going to be reviewing 5 ordinances tonight. Is that or discussing them? Is that correct?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Some of them are,
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
4.
Okay.
4.
And you're going to be having discussion about said ordinances, correct?
This is first reading. Public discussion is on the...
First reading. Will we have copies of the ordinances? Is that appropriate, counsel, for the public to be aware of what the ordinance is?
For the first reading, it's read by title, and there's discussion amongst the council
Okay.
regarding that. Second reading, it's prior to the second reading.
Okay.
It's published either by title and summary.
Okay.
Or the whole ordinance in full. And then you have, at the second reading, it's open to the public. Public has an opportunity to engage in discussion regarding the
Okay.
merits.
So tonight, it'll just be discussion amongst council. Public has no opportunity to comment. That's the process.
You could comment now during public comment.
No, I just meant as you're discussing. I'm trying to understand what
As
the
it's being voted,
process is.
as it's being voted on, it's just going to be to the council.
Okay, thank you
And
very
we have been
much.
posting them. We will, after this meeting, Beth.
Okay, so we'll be able to read through them. Thank you.
That gave me my favorite, I answered for that.
Okay, thanks.
have we any other comments? Seeing and hearing none, I motion that we go out of public comment. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we're going to go into old business. Now, you'll have to bear with us here because I'm looking at maybe the 8th or 6th version of the agenda tonight. It's been very difficult to try and keep track of this and to try and read what was coming in. Most of what I got at 6:15 tonight. So we're trying. We'll try to do the best we can for you.
We have all the new agendas were placed on the dais right before the meeting.
Right.
You should have the latest copy.
Well, I have that someplace, but I didn't have my notes on it that I like to have. So I didn't have time to transcribe the notes from one to the other. So I'm going to do the best I can. Let's see what we'll do. Old business now from the copy of the agenda I'm going to work on, and I'll refer back and forth to this one, this newer one. Resolution 1559 that authorizes Mayor McKay to execute a contract with Isabotia LLP to provide audit services to the township.
You don't have the right
I'm sorry.
agenda.
What?
I think the first one is ordinance number 15.
No, you don't have the right agenda.
I don't think,
You know, now, Maureen. See how you can screw yourself up for saying stuff?
Is there anything else over there?
you guys want a copy of this one?
Oh my gosh.
There's no doubt that this was a disaster tonight, trying to figure
No,
this out.
no, it's not a disaster.
Oh, it's not, well,
She found it. She found it.
something
Piles
less than
of
a
paper.
disaster, but something more than what one might want to do.
We're good.
She had the wrong copy.
All right.
Actually shorter.
Not really. It's okay.
And we're meeting twice a month, we got this. What the hell? All right, so yeah, this resolution 1559 authorizes me to execute a contract. I haven't seen the contract, so I can't execute anything, but I guess if you want to authorize me to do it, that would be appropriate. So I'll ask for a motion to...
Motion.
Second, okay. Discussion?
Does all council get a chance to see this contract so we can weigh in on it?
We did under the pay to play, we were all handed copies of everything.
Yeah, okay, in January
And it had-
and December, November, so we wouldn't have got another copy from here. Okay. I had some questions on it actually that I did send to the attorneys, and I have not heard back yet. So, I'd actually like to bring it to a vote. Table that.
We have a motion
There's a motion and a second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a
Okay.
second.
Well, I didn't get to see it. I had some questions, and, I don't think that I think you should rescind that because I haven't heard back from the attorneys regarding the words and the verbiage in the contract.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have? to
Yeah,
vote?
we are. I know we're in there. We're in a discussion. I would also like to see the answer to those questions. I think one of them had to do with the term of the contract for a 1 year. I think the contract that we have, if I'm not mistaken, is 2 years.
Well, it's the typical contract will be for 2015, for example, for this year, but there's going to be services that will end in 2016 because they're going to do the auditing into 16 for 15 years.
Just like they did.
Yeah, I
contract.
don't agree with that contract. It's not, it's actually giving a 2-year contract. You're allowing them to perform work in 2014 and in 2015. And I know audit services because they have to come in the year, the year after to do the prior year, but I do believe that if you're going to issue a contract, it should be, say, for instance, in 2015, whatever work needs to be done in 2015 is awarded to that person. And then in 2016, you appoint another person, and that person does the work in 2016. So I don't necessarily agree with the verbiage in that, and I do think it's going against the statute. What statute? The statute that says that it's a 1-year contract for auditors.
4811-5.
2811-5.
4811.
4811.
No, all right, we have a second. We'll vote on it, but I won't sign it until you give me this.
You got it, man.
Okay.
Roll call.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe. Yes. Councilwoman Schneider.
No.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes, because I said I would do it. once I have it. The second item is authorize Township labor attorney to review and update Township personnel policy and procedure manual, volunteer handbook, recreation program handbook, and summer employee handbook. That should be said now. Okay, does anyone want to make a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
All right, discussion.
I haven't also seen, is this saying that you're going to update them, or are you just reviewing them and then bringing them back to council to look at before you update? Because this looks like you're updating, but I have not seen any of the actual updates.
Right. So if the council authorizes me to do this, what I'll do is review all those numerous items and give you a basically a red line of my suggested comments, changes. You can take them as you will, leave them as you will.
Okay.
And then if you want to do it, then we can just update it.
Okay, so what your opinion, your opinion, set of updates.
Right.
Okay.
All right,
Suggested updates.
Right.
Suggested.
If there are any.
Right.
I know this is difficult, but would you have any ideas how much that would run us, how many hours?
The personnel policy we do pretty regularly, so that won't take, I don't, honestly, less than 6 hours, I think, for all those.
That's-
Okay, so $700,
yeah, I mean, I'm worried about it.
$800.
I mean, they are definitely in need of updates. All right, any other discussion?
So I just want to be clear. So we're just authorizing you to look at these and come back with suggestions. We're not actually voting to take your suggestions and put them in, we're not voting on,
Right.
we're not voting on it.
We haven't
Okay.
seen that.
Okay, yep, I just want to be clear, because the wording is a little, okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilman Del
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay, Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Jessen.
Yes.
Yes. Item 3, pool membership rates, including, let me change this one.
Yeah, I would
Swim team pool party rates, pavilion rates for 2015. Also, we're going to authorize senior citizens groups, and these are known senior citizen type groups, not make one up, they come there. Use of pavilion free one day per week, Monday through Thursdays, during the months of May through September. All right?
So we have, so
Now-
we're doing pool rental and pavilion.
Right,
only,
now-
right, okay.
One time a year or one time a week?
No, it's
One time a
week.
year,
What?
Per year.
per year.
Per year? No,
Per
we're
year.
talking about a week.
Ooh, that's gonna be a,
What?
I
One
think
time per
it
year.
says one time per year.
Oh, that's not what I'm.
We only give the
Yeah.
LAA Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts one free time too.
One per season.
These are our senior citizens. I think you can give them one morning a week, but I think it's rented, like during the week, maybe like a Wednesday.
How much does it cost to operate that?
It's been.
What? Don't talk.
But it's, that would be, I mean, if we can do it.
Yeah, I see it as a
Once a
meeting
week?
place for seniors to have for
Once
most
a
of the
week.
year, half the year. And they can have their clubs, they play cards, do things like that. Thing isn't being used.
Well, why don't we see if there's an interest first?
Well, I think what we're going to do is that we're soliciting an interest. We're trying to find out if so, if a group, an existing group of seniors, such as Phillipsburg group or AARP, or somebody wants to.
Can we just request that they have to clean up after themselves? So we don't have to hire anybody? Okay.
Senior citizens always do that. Sorry. You'll be cleaner than when you gave it.
So it'll come down to like, you know, what day of the week.
It would be a day of the week that's not a heavy demand.
An off day.
Right, yeah. like an
Okay.
off day.
All right.
Yeah, so you have to distinguish between use of the pool versus use of the pavilion.
It's just pavilion.
We're talking
It's just
about-
pavilion. Yeah, so,
And in that same group, we'd like to offer the LAA teams, the Boy Scouts, and the Girl Scouts one-time free on weekdays, Monday through Thursday.
I concur.
And then one day on the weekend, if they're, at $100.
Yeah, a reduced rate.
It would be
We
a
certainly want
reduced
to, encourage our troops, our scouting troops and our.
I
youth
did
groups.
type
Yes,
you up,
yes.
suggested schedule, it's in your packets. It's calling for the pavilion rates to remain the same as they have been. It's offering the senior citizen groups,
mhm.
such as the AARP, Sunny Seniors, Phillipsburg Senior Center, the use of the pavilion through the week, May through the end of September.
So one time
Monday
per
through
week,
Thursday.
One
Monday
time
through
per week.
Thursday.
And again, the LAA teams, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, one time free on weekdays, Monday through Thursday.
Is that per
And
week?
$100 with a $50 cleanup that they would get back on the weekend. And then pavilion rates for anyone who wanted to rent the pavilion during the week, Monday through Thursday, because we talked about it the last meeting,
Mhm.
trying to generate, some more use,
Right, yes.
some more revenue, $100 with a $50 cleanup.
For the LAA Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, is it one time free the whole season or
Well,
per week?
generally, it's been, they usually call at the end of the season,
Mhm.
and say we want to have our end of the season picnic.
Okay.
I'm sure if it's available and it's not being used and somebody
Okay.
called and said, we have something else,
Yeah, I
of
just,
course, we'll say yes.
right. Yeah, I think the one time a week, I'm afraid that what if we have somebody that says, I want a birthday party, and we're losing maybe some
Yeah.
potential revenue.
Yeah, it's not really being rented through the week now, we're just trying to see, if we can
So
generate
one time for the LAA Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, it's one time free for the season.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, and with those clarifications, I guess it's time for roll call.
Do we have a motion?
I
Motion,
thought we got the motion.
no. Motion.
Motion
Second.
second, good. We did the discussion. More discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay? Yes. Councilwoman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chesler?
Yes.
Mayor McKay?
Yes. Okay, the next item is resolution to approve volunteer visitor policy. This arose out of complaint by a certain visitor that visitor didn't get appropriate use of the facilities here in the building when here. So what we're trying to do is have order and logic and sanity to how people come to visit us, and I attempted to do that by creating this policy. So the policy was circulated about a week ago. I didn't get any comments on it from any of the council members. So at this point, I'm going to ask that we, I'll make a motion that we approve the policy. Second,
Second.
discussion.
Let's go first.
Well, this policy is, this is where you want to distinguish between a prominent volunteer and a regular volunteer.
It was suggested that there'd be tiers, so there's 2 tiers.
Well, I don't agree with tiers. I don't think, I think our volunteers are you know, sacred resources in this town. And I think if we start putting tiers into our volunteers, I think we're creating friction and walls and unnecessary.
Certainly not intended for that purpose.
Well, you know what? It doesn't seem that way, and I don't think that it's just going to cause more work, more trouble than it's necessary. Because now, let's say whatever group has their what would you call them? Their prominent volunteer, and that volunteer can't make it, and then they send someone else. Who's going to be the babysitter to say, you're not prominent, you can't come in, and then this is just creating administrative steps that are burdensome.
This entire policy is creating administrative steps that are burdensome and ridiculous.
And
I don't think, I hate to have it, but you're the ones who wanted it, so you
I don't want it.
Yes, you did. You wanted a policy.
No, I did not. I wanted our volunteers to be treated respectfully.
And they are.
Not blatantly. So I think this is overly burdensome and unnecessary.
I just have one comment. I know you did ask for input from all of us, and I wish you would have maybe talked about that to the mayor prior, and then maybe he could have maybe done some revisions, or you could have had maybe some kind of conversation about that, because he did ask for it. But I do also would like to say, no one wants to put any barriers against anyone, but when you're getting calls from employees in the building saying that residents aren't being taken care of, they're standing at the window because they can't be seen. There comes a point where maybe you have to instill some kind of rules.
And we need some rules for that, because we have people that are coming in not for the thing that they volunteer to do, but for other business that they want to do at the municipal building, such as,
Such as what? Well, anything that's not pertaining to their volunteer work. If they're coming in for other reasons, then that's a different story. They're not in there as a volunteer. But if you're in there as a volunteer to actually do your volunteer work, then we're offering somewhere for these folks to go. But if you're in there not doing your volunteer work, you really shouldn't be there in the first place.
I'm worried about people sitting in the secured parts of this building where telephone calls are being made, where employee matters may be discussed, where township business is being discussed that is not generally known to the public. And to afford that kind of access to a select bunch of 1 or 2 people and deny it to everyone else, which is apparently the way it is, I think that's just wrong. I think all we need is some common sense rules that say how you deal with these situations. That was what I attempted to do. I circulated it. Nobody had any comments. I thought everybody liked it. Apparently not. I would suggest that someone else then take a stab at it, because we must have order. We cannot have people listening to that kind of stuff, being involved in that kind of stuff, who have no business knowing it.
I don't think we've ever had any problems in the past. So I'm not sure what's causing this to come up and to create all these administrative steps that then require someone to babysit them, and then require someone to make sure the steps are being followed. And if the steps aren't being followed, I mean, this is just unnecessary. If we have a problem with a particular volunteer, then I think we should just speak with that particular volunteer. Why should the whole class suffer because one kid did something wrong?
Volunteers is a valuable asset to this town. One thing I don't want to do is discourage volunteers not to volunteer, because now we have a whole written policy against them, whether it's good intention or, let me finish, whether it's good intention or otherwise. All I'm saying is a stumbling block or just more set of rules that, volunteers will say, and this is perception, to say, you know what, I don't need to deal with this stuff. I don't have to go through this nonsense. Perception. Everybody has different perceptions, and that's the reality. So the thing is, we have to walk alongside our volunteers, okay? Guide them and help them with what their needs are. I don't think that there should be some kind of policy. However, to Maureen's comment, that if there is a problem with a volunteer, or volunteers, whatever, if there's an issue, okay, because someone doesn't like someone, I think that should be addressed, okay? Individually, according just for that specific person, not to address the whole volunteer organization in town. So, and this is what this is doing right now. So if there is an issue, let's deal with the person like adults. Sit down, what is the problem? Also, I think that if there was to be a policy in place, that we should talk to the volunteers, and see what they think, and get an input from them as well. Not just from the governing body here, because after all, they're the volunteers.
My only input is, I think it's a little cumbersome. With ranking volunteers, I'm not okay with, because you have prominent volunteers, which would be a chairperson, and then you have regular volunteers. Okay, so from an LAA perspective, basically it would be your president who would be the chairperson.
You could say there were two people.
Or the treasurer. But what happens is most of these volunteers, amazingly, you would think it's the opposite. Most of them have full-time jobs. So, and a lot of them can't get here at that time period. So they need to send someone else in. So now they're going to have to call ahead and say, listen, I know I'm sending in a non-prominent volunteer, but I need them to be able to go back there. And then we have to figure out how long they're going to be here, 15 minutes or less, or 15 minutes or more, and that depends where they can sit. But now a lot of these times, like the LA treasurer is coming in to sit with the CFO, so that's irrelevant. He has to go back there. Sometimes they're coming to do things with the municipal clerk, and records can't be out of her view. Here's an example, though, where I have a problem with ranking, not only the LAA. Okay, rent leveling board. We have the chairperson, which is Catherine DeVos. Say she can't get here. She sends in somebody who's on a committee, which happens to be former Councilman Jim Mengucci. He would only be considered a volunteer. To sit here and tell Jim Mengucci, who was a councilman for I don't even know how many years, and whose father was a councilman and a mayor here, that, yeah, Jim, you got to stand at the counter. Sorry, you're only a volunteer, not a prominent volunteer, is to me like a slap in the face. These people are doing things. I think what you need to do is you have to say that if a volunteer comes in and they need to come into a secured area and deal with records, they just can't be out of the eyesight of an employee. And if they don't need to be behind there, then they can choose where they want to go. I think we need to accommodate our volunteers. Like you said, I don't think you've had a problem with anything being missing or anything like that. And when there is a problem, you deal with it. Until then, I think we just need to make sure that we follow the regulations regarding the records. And
what would those be? That
certain records can't go out of the clerk's site, yeah, unless she releases them. And then again, like, I don't want somebody sitting in the lobby with records that maybe they shouldn't be seeing just because of whatever the time constriction is that they have to sit outside. I think it should be wherever the volunteer is most comfortable.
Fine. All right. I'll tell you what we'll do. This is a seemingly impossible thing to codify. So what we'll do is I'll withdraw it. But if anything happens, it's on you. Next item.
I'd like to ask council what they think of the
Not public
volunteer
comment,
policy.
no.
I'd like to just hear from council if he's had a chance to read the volunteer policy and what his thoughts are on it.
I have had a chance to read it, and it's really a policy decision of the council whether they want to go through it or not. There's nothing, legally that's objectionable.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Is there anything in there that's a questionable request or a
No, from a
policy?
legal standpoint, it's fine. It's a policy of the council regarding how they want to allow access, or if they want to allow access to certain areas of the municipal building. But whether you implement that or not, obviously, is a decision for the council.
This here doesn't just affect today, but this will affect future volunteers down the road. So we have to be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Right.
You don't want to, bite your nose to spite your face. So let's be careful about this. That's
Yeah.
all.
I agree. We do need to be careful, but we also, if we have volunteers coming in that are not doing their volunteer work, then, perhaps we need to do something about it. And I think this is what the mayor's trying to address, just those issues right there. If you're coming in and doing your work, you're a volunteer. I don't think, I've never seen a volunteer be in there for 4 and 5 hours, to do their volunteer work. I just think that there should be some kind of limit, and you're also impeding people from coming up to the window. So I do think there should be some sort of policy. If you want to, you can take it off the table and relook at it. And if you want to discuss the prominent volunteer versus volunteer, I think that's
discriminatory.
I think that you could probably do that, and that probably could have been done prior. But I think there should be some sort of policy, and, I think maybe this one just could be revamped a little bit.
You put a time limit, like 3 or 4 hours someone's spending here. I'm not sure, how long a volunteer, how much time they need. None of us really do know that. And we're not over the shoulder watching them every move and every document they're going over. I have no idea. So to put a time limit, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Well, there's not a time limit, Lou, when they're doing their actual volunteer work. And if they need actual 3 or 4 and 5 and 6 hours of doing their volunteer work, then that's absolutely fine. But if they're in there doing volunteer work and then other things, then they shouldn't be doing that.
Define other things.
Other things that pertain to not part of their volunteer role.
But is it like something that has to do with the township? Are they
Yes.
sitting here doing their nails, or are they actually doing something?
This is the municipal building. This is for the residents. It's not just for the governing body. It's not just
Sure,
for the
it's,
employees. So
and it's also for the
I think we
employees.
should take a vote on
Alright.
this.
No,
Oh, it was just withdrawing.
I withdrew it.
I know, but
No, it's on you guys. If something happens,
okay.
I tried.
Just one more
I
thing.
tried.
I trust Mr. Minkus.
If there's an issue, let's talk to the volunteer about it. That's all. Let's clear it up.
I made a good faith try. Next item is going to probably have the same problem.
It's not public comment time yet.
Not public comment. The next item is a resolution which is here called the administrative policy. Essentially what this does is try to give some kind of structure to the creation of the agenda for these meetings. And it requires things to be in on a certain time frame. It rejects things that aren't. It just has a whole bunch of, I don't want to read it. Most people would find it disgusting or boring. But what happens is, like happened today, we got most of this at 6:30, 6:15. We don't have time to read it. So a lot of this stuff we can't even particularly vote on if we don't know what it is. And I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think we're doing our job, and I want order to that. And that's why I put the policy out. I'll take a motion to approve the policy.
Motion.
Second? No, I'll second it. Now, discussion. Why don't we need a policy to put out our agenda?
Well, a lot of the items that were put on today had to do with the budget.
Some.
Yeah, so that was on the advice of the
Right.
auditor, so we can get that done.
I also think, I'm sorry.
I'll go
I'm ready to
through it.
finish.
Item topic is received by 1 p.m. on the Wednesday preceding the scheduled meeting. I think that's cutting it too short.
Now, you've had this for 2 months, and I asked for comments.
Unfortunately, there was a lot of OPMA violations in email this past week, so I didn't want to write back. Including the bill list, that I know, I mean, I think the CFO should probably have like her own cutoff date. I think that's a date you should probably decide based on your procedure. Reports, it says reports from police, court, DPW, and engineer. We don't receive reports from the police, the court, or DPW, and the engineer always usually gives his report here.
There might be some in the future.
Well, and then if we're doing police, court, and DPW, why don't we have the ones that we do have on here, which is what? I mean, we used to have tax collector. What about tax assessor?
These are
All
in
the other
addition.
departments, building.
This is in addition.
Okay. So those should probably be added on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing this is copied from some other town.
No, it's not.
because we don't have police court. All agendas must have backup documentation. That's only if backup documentation exists. It doesn't always do. Item 3, actually the law, there's what, 9 exceptions to executive session?
Those
So-
are the prominent 3. But
Right, but I don't think we should limit ourselves to something that's not. We should follow the law on that one. The draft agenda, we should definitely be doing the, number 4, I agree. We should get, the draft agenda we should try to do that by that Thursday. And then this way, if we can get it by Friday, which leads me to the final agenda should not be, if we're, on number 5 says all town council members are to receive the agenda packet in a timely manner, including both the agenda and all support documents on the Friday preceding the meeting. And then it says the final agenda will be posted on the website by 5 on Friday. That to me is a workflow issue, because if we're just getting it on Friday, we're not going to have time to review it and add things or maybe see what's going on there. So you don't actually have to, for a regularly scheduled meeting, you don't have to by law post the agenda at all. We try to do it like we do for special meetings, which is 48 hours beforehand if we can. So that's typically Monday night. Again, I would prefer that on Monday. So that gives council the weekend to go over their packet and come back with anything. And again, if edits are ready to the agenda, that's fine. Non-emergency walk-on items need to be discussed and approved by the mayor. I don't agree with that. It's our agenda. We went over that last meeting. And any items that do not meet these deadlines, again, if it's, if it's important, or we just had a meeting, what if, like you have the deadline, but then we have a committee meeting like the day 2 afterwards, and we have something we have to bring forth from that. Those are all the little things that we have to work with. I think it's good to have some guidelines in place, but I don't think they should be like strict. You can't do this. We all need to work together. It is annoying to get, like I got 3, I posted the agenda 3 times. Like, yeah, that's not a lot of fun.
And it's inefficient, and
Right.
we're not doing our job.
No,
Oh, we are doing our job.
We are
That's the
doing our
problem.
I don't have time to review the stuff before we vote on it. We're not.
The agenda doesn't completely change
No.
every one of those. It's usually one line item that's been either added or deleted, so it's not as dramatic as you're making it seem. And as far as limiting the deadlines, I don't agree. I mean, our job up here is to be flexible, to be responsive to the residents. This isn't that big of a town that we need to put these deadlines in place. So if something comes up for someone and they need to get in here, we can't turn around and say, sorry, you have to wait 30 days. I think that's being irresponsible.
There's 20 agenda items here, and there's all the reports beyond that.
Well, we're a busy town, but I'm saying that I don't
saying-
think we should be limiting ourselves, or I think we need to be flexible.
We need some kind of structure. Now, if you two want to work on a structure and spring it forth, that's fine.
I think what we have
vote
is
this away
working. I
and-
don't want to work on a structure. What we have now is working, and I would never limit our executive
working?
session to the main 3 items. If we're by law allowed 9, I'm not going to limit that.
Well, then add the other 6. That was a,
There's no need to address it. It is what it is. Why are we, again, putting more procedural
because
steps
we
in
get
place?
things, all things.
Because
at
it's not,
6:15
it's
PM,
not
and we have
working.
to vote on them, and we can't do that.
It's not working.
We need.
Then it has worked all these years, and suddenly it's not working.
I have no problem keeping up with it.
It hasn't worked. And every month, every meeting that I have come to, I would say 90% of the meetings, I come to the dais and my agenda is different than what the agenda was that I got 3 hours before, the day before. It's always changing, and there are things that are put on there that are very important to be able to read and ask questions and take the time to review it. And if I'm just getting an agenda on my desk at 7 o'clock, there's no time to ask questions, there's no time to read it, there's no time to review it, and you're asking to make important decisions about taxpayer dollars, and we have no time to even review it. And I don't think that should be. I think there should be a policy in place to have all this done. And I do believe in Robert's rules, there are some policy in there that tells you should have the agenda up at this point in time, and you should have your things into the clerk by a certain amount of time. And you should be able to have a certain amount of time to ask questions and gather information, so you know what you're talking about when you do sit on the dais and have thoughtful and meaningful conversation up here. But when you get agenda items 20 minutes at 7 o'clock, and then you're doing something else in an executive session, you still can't even read it. You have to sit here and kind of shuffle through everything. I don't think it should be that way. It shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't come up here and be surprised every time I sit here that there's something else on my desk I didn't know about.
What typically gets added? I mean, I know we have a lot, sometimes it's a tax sale, sometimes things just come to us. And again, since we meet once a month, most of these things affect the residents, and do we want them to wait
All right,
another
I'll
month?
give you the first example. The resolution authorizing the contract with Dale Evans of firm of Nova Scotia LLP for professional auditing services. I got that at 6:15 today. Now, why is that? Why am I getting that thing today at 6:15? I mean, I think we knew about this for weeks.
Dale?
What number are you talking about?
1559.
Hasn't that been on there?
It's been on
That's
there.
old business.
But this didn't get to me until now, until
resolution.
6:15.
Yeah.
Let me finish, I was going to say that for you.
Okay, yeah, so then,
Yeah, it was created, the resolution was created, it was sent off to the attorney's
Okay.
office, and we just got it back.
okay, so that, that's a very routine thing, and this is a very routine resolution. So we got it better. Now, I gave my shot at it. If you want to give your shot at it, I'd appreciate it.
I think it's good to have
Let's vote this thing so we can
guidelines,
vote it, reflect how you feel about it, and then if you want to do it, you can do it.
There's some things here I agree with, and there's some things I don't agree with. So I think maybe we should review this.
But
Okay,
he's
if
asked
you
you
have some kind of
twice.
guideline, I have a problem with that.
Oh, take a look.
Okay. However, the agenda is a living thing. It's evolving. It
It
does
makes provision
change.
for that there are emergency things. and there are-
Right.
Just like with the
But
Zavatio.
this thing, this Savashi is not an emergency. This is a routine issue. So, and for whatever reason, it didn't get here until
Right.
6:15. All right.
For the couple years I've been here, I have had no issue as far as preparation of the agenda. I was able to look over it, go through it, ask some questions, and and I felt for me it's working for me. Now, others may have a different opinion. That's fine. So we can work through that and maybe tweak a couple of things to adjust it. I have no problem with that.
Okay, let's do the roll call.
Councilman O'Hara,
At this moment, no.
Councilwoman McKay,
No.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Not as is, no.
Yes. Okay, the next item is Mayor McKay's consent appointments. I have one to elevate Judy Liptak from alternate to full member of the EDAC.
I think that Judy was appointed as alternate. The EDAC should only have by ordinance 9 members. We currently have 8. So if we elevate her from alternate to
Then you'll have
the
9.
committee, then we'll have 9, and then we will not have a vacancy, as I've mentioned in the past few meetings, that we really need somebody, maybe a commercial real estate realtor, somebody with that, specific background. If we do this, then we're going to lock ourselves out of a vacancy, and I don't think it's necessary.
Maybe you should have a meeting first and then go back to this?
An alternate is an active member of the committee, so I'm not sure what your purpose is for doing that.
My purpose is to get her more active so she's a full member.
She can do the same things as an alternate.
Yeah, there's no voting or anything.
So I don't think there's any reason to even do this, but besides the fact that I don't want to lock up all of them.
Are you head of the EDAC committee, Maureen? I'm just asking, as a liaison role, I assumed your position there would be to go to the meetings and report back to council. If you're taking an active role in it, then I believe you've now put yourself into a membership kind of a position.
What you're talking about.
You're kind of giving the guidelines and what you.
What our ordinance is.
No, you're
Just
saying
giving
what
her
we want and what I want to see on there, and I
Why do you want to do
what
Maybe
you
you
want
guys
to
should
see.
meet. They haven't met yet. They haven't met
Yeah,
since we
but-
have the new members. Maybe they should meet first and.
Shouldn't the chair and the rest of the
I don't think we
members
have a
kind
chair
of
yet.
right? But shouldn't they be allowed to make these decisions as well
Yeah, they
instead of
should probably
liaison?
They haven't met yet.
Yeah, but I don't think the liaison should be making any
Well, it's on our
decisions.
agenda, so I'm,
Right, but you're the the liaison to the group. I'm just wondering
I
why.
imagine my opinion would be important.
It is. It's an opinion, but you're kind of turning this into that you're a member.
No, I'm
I don't
kind of
think so.
explaining what our ordinance says. That's what I was doing.
Well, it's Mayor McKay's consent appointment.
I don't know that there's even a vote needed on this. I'm going to ask council. This is a person who's already on a committee. It's consent to put the person
You
on
already
the committee.
appointed
Is it a
her.
consent to elevate them from alternate to?
I don't think, he made the appointment our last meeting,
No.
so now he's gonna change it?
Why don't we make a motion to table this until they actually meet? Aren't they meeting next week?
I think we should wait until they have the first meeting and let the members discuss this. And then Councilwoman McCabe will come back with a report.
I don't know where to go with this. I guess I'll table it till next meeting.
You need a motion? Beth?
Do I need a motion to table it? I don't think I did. Do I need a motion to
You need a
table?
motion to
What?
table?
Council says no.
Okay.
All right. Now, the Mayor McKay non-consent appointments, these are going to be people to be appointed to the Shade Tree Committee. However, since you submitted a new ordinance for the Shade Tree Committee, and that's not, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm going to hold off on these appointments because I don't know if I can appoint them.
Probably be better because what we're going to have to do is, and this is also Shade Tree discussed it, just to give you a little background when we talk about it when we get to the ordinance, is that once we do put in the ordinance changes, we have to assign those different terms. So you might want to do it at the second reading so then you can assign the new people to the terms because we have to stagger the terms.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so when maybe that would be at the second reading, which is in
March.
I
April 1st.
don't know. Will it be April 1st or is that too soon? Second read, yeah.
If I put it in the express, we'll just make it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So the next one.
Now we have, I guess we'll go to budget. This is, we're showing budget as a separate grouping here, just for ease of presentation. Some of these items here are perfunctory. We have to do them for every kind of budget time we do the budget. And so that would be Resolution 1560, adopt the tax collection percentage. Resolution 1561, approve examination of budget, and board didn't get those two. All right. So I guess I'll do them individually. I'll make a motion for the approval of Resolution 1560.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Delcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Resolution 1561, previously read. I ask for motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Delcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Okay. The next one is ordinance 1507, first reading, to establish cap bank for calendar 2015. You might want to give a small.
What this does, it allows us to increase, excuse me, the appropriations 3.5%, as opposed to the 2% that the state normally allows. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to increase your appropriations that much, just that you have the ability to do that.
Right.
Whatever you don't increase, that dollar value associated with the percentage, excuse me, will then go into your cap bank. So you
Right.
could use it in future
Mhm.
years.
In future years, we don't go up at how we build up. And
So you
someday if
can
we need it,
then,
we can go above our cap.
It's not a real bank of money. It's just that next year, if we didn't use everything that we could have raised our taxes, we can then raise our expenditures by the amount that we
Right,
didn't do
right.
this year.
This is just for the appropriations,
Yeah.
not the levy.
Okay.
So if you don't use it this year, you could
Mhm.
then
Right.
authorize an expenditure of a higher amount for next year.
Right.
Okay, good. I'll ask for a motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Roll call.
Councilman Councilman Beltrán.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Schaefer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, next item in the budget group is the budget itself, the 2015 budget introduction. All right, now, we'll have to wait until April 15th, tentative date of the public hearing and final adoption of the budget, but we're going to have the budget introduced at this time, and our CFO will do some introduction for you.
Just a couple of footnotes about it. Everyone had met previously to discuss the budget and all that it entails. Some highlights from the sewer portion of the budget. We did not anticipate the use of any surplus in the sewer budget. We're able to fully fund all of our appropriations just by the revenues that we're anticipating to come in from the sewer user fees. We are anticipating $85,000 less to be used in the current fund budget to offset current fund expenditures. So we'll be keeping that additional surplus then available for the sewer utility in the future. We're also maintaining the $200,000 capital contribution for the sewer utility. Excuse me, just a few highlights for the current fund. We're anticipating 46% of surplus to offset a higher tax increase. In the prior year, we used 56%, so 46 is still a little high, but it's better than what we had done last year. We did reduce the reliance on the sewer utility surplus by 19%, so we're using that much less sewer to subsidize our current fund taxation. The actual increase in our levy is $207,974.13. That equates on the value of a home, which I was told the average value is about $250,000. That would equate to a tax increase of about $65. Again, that's just the increase, and it's just the local portion. There'll be a lot more detail at the public hearing, but this is just a preliminary offering. Another highlight is that some of the departmental budgets were divided, and we should hopefully have a more transparent view of the expenditures. The biggest one was the pool that had traditionally previously been in with parks and playgrounds, parks and recreation. Now that's separated all on its own, so that I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, that'll enable us to make the move into a utility a little bit easier. We also started with a much greater detailed capital budgeting and planning. I did just pass out tonight, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to meet with the engineer until this evening, but it's a listing. I started just with the Department of Public Works so that you could see really what our capital needs are. The first and easiest place to start was on the vehicles, because that's something that as a finance officer I can understand a little easier than road paving. You notice that the road paving is a lot less detailed, but just from a ballpark estimate, just for DPW, we really should be excuse me, putting in about $500,000 for capital programming each year. In addition to that, we still have police capital needs, and we have all the other DPW equipment, their front end loader, their backhoe, their all the other cool equipment that they have. So this is really that $496,000 is really just for road paving improvements and their actual physical trucks. So we do have a lot more grounds to make up in the future years, hopefully, for capital planning. But this year we did have a total of, I think, 4 different items specifically set aside in capital. So it's a little bit more detailed.
All right, now this is a ongoing problem for all municipalities. It's how to fund this stuff. As you get to be an older community, your roads go, sewers start to go. You know, we don't have anything to build on right now. We have very little in the way of surpluses. So the idea is to start small this year, because this is our turnaround year. This is the year, the first year we did almost from the bottom up budget analysis. You know, the people in the departments weren't accustomed to that, so we had to, you know, kind of instruct them on what they should be doing, how they should look at things. But they became more and more cooperative as we went through it. I think they liked that they have some idea what their budgets are, and that we'll be, you know, keeping them to it. We were able to get some pretty big cuts, and that's why the tax increase is small. But at the same time, we are building up not enough surplus, but a little bit of surplus. We have some big capital items we have to meet this year. There's a couple of police cars we have to get, things that we can't, not do. We just have to do some things. So we have to be able to fund those things. We can't be borrowing money to buy it. So we have adequate capital to do those fundings. I think we have 150,000 for the roads. Yeah, 150,000 we put towards the roads, and we've also worked out with the Department of Public Works a plan by which they're going to bring back some retired guys to do a lot of the lawn mowing and things like that, which will free up the regular guys to go out and start fixing the roads. Beginning of the program will be with that much money is probably to just start filling cracks. I mean, we'll fill the cracks and we'll do some surface and resurfacing. We can't do any big projects. We don't have the money yet, but we'll try to get the roads safer. But going forward, we have to find ways to fund these projects, and that's either you increase taxes or you find ways to cut expenses. There's no other way around it. Maybe a grant if you're lucky. And we're going to be diligent in trying to do that. So I think that's, from 20,000 feet, that's kind of the picture. Worked real hard on the budget, small tax increase, a little bit of a tax increase. We have enough capital set aside to do some more road work, to buy the police cars. What was the other thing? DPW truck? Yeah. One of them is in the sinkhole. We got to replace that. But, I think we can get those things done this year. Next year, I think we'll work towards a more robust program. Okay. Okay.
The only question I have is, would it be possible for us to delay the vote of the introduction of the budget until, I have 3 items under new business that I had asked to put on here that could save us a substantial amount of money. I would like to discuss those and see if those go through and see if there's any way possible, especially with number 13, which is shared services. I've been working very closely with Mayor Kern on this. POHAT is ready and roaring to go to do shared services as soon as possible. If there is any way that we could actually get this in within a very short amount of time, we might be able to see the savings in this budget. Like, I understand, I don't agree this is a turnaround year. It's not a turnaround year for the people at home. And to what Mr. Horan was saying, not only am I getting phone calls, but I think my in-laws live in this town. They are getting phone calls asking them to talk to me to do what I can to not have a tax increase or have it as small as possible, because I know we need a lot of stuff, but everybody's driveways are a mess. We have sinkholes in the driveways. People haven't been able, like Andy said, your pay is going down, cost of living is going up. We're not able to do this stuff on our house. I mean, if there is any way that we could, I don't know if we want to talk about these and then see if we can introduce it.
That's further down into the agenda, I think, those items.
Right, and I don't know if we could vote on this after we get to those, or...
Well, it should also be noted that there will be tweaks.
It's not final.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
final.
it's not final.
There's still more cuts that we're thinking about.
Okay, you can only make for amendments. If you're introducing tonight, your amendments can't be more than 10% on any line item. Otherwise, you have to reintroduce. Because I have a whole list of things I'd like to change. Some that can go in as amendments without a reintroduction, and some that it would have to be reintroduced.
Yep.
So then, should we even introduce tonight?
I think.
Well, if we don't, then we're going to go over the statutory deadline, right?
The statutory deadline was last Thursday, so it's supposed to be introduced at your meeting after that deadline.
Well, can we do it by April 1st and still be in time?
This is our next meeting after the statutory deadline, so that would just be one more no on our.
Is it that you have to introduce, but then if we made amendments that would cause us to reintroduce, that's okay?
Yeah, as long as your initial introduction is
So after we tweak it, and then do.
Yeah, depending on how big your tweaks are.
Yeah.
You may, as Lori had mentioned, you may be able just to have an amendment, or you may have to completely reintroduce.
Okay, that would work also. Okay.
Yeah, does that work?
Yeah. Because then if it's okay that you have to reintroduce, then that's fine. Because some of them, if we do some of these things, we definitely have to reintroduce because they're over the 10%.
Okay, so we're going to vote on this and then tweak it later? Is that? All right, I'll put it up for a vote. I'll ask for a motion. A motion to approve the budget. Do I hear a motion? No? What, to introduce?
The motion to introduce.
Yeah.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
You know what, I think no. I think we should wait. Make sure we have everything done properly. So no.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
I feel the same, no.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to new business. Resolution number 1562, authorizing the sale of tax certificate number 2012-028 and premium in the amount of $24,017.94. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Resolution number 1563, authorizing to refund tax payments on exempt property known as Block 32, Lot 28 for 2015 in the amount of $1,202.27. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Now, I hope I'm right here. Number 3 is on mine is
1564.
1564. This authorizes the sale of the 1986 GMC Value Van and the 1997 HME Central States Pumper owned by the Township and not required for public purposes via a public auction. And it also authorizes spending of $4,000 approximately in repair costs. I guess what happened here is a good citizen, sitting right there, indicated on his phone that during a previous council meeting that the fire engine that we had was probably worth a lot more than the $6,000 that we were going to get selling it to Oxford Township. And then we were selling 2 vehicles to Oxford Township for $6,000, the fire pump and another vehicle. So I heard what he had to say. I listened to him, and I went around and I asked a few other people, what do you think about this? And essentially got the same opinion. So I went and I talked to a broker that deals in fire engines. And that broker said that this was a very desirable fire engine. It had low mileage, 24,000 miles. I held 12 people. It had a plastic tank. It was red, had all the things that they like when they auction fire engine. I was enthralled with that because I thought that was a much better way to go. Now, the fire department ordered a mechanic to come in and look at the fire vehicle and to determine how much it would cost to repair it, to bring it back to shape. And that invoice was under $4,000 of repairs necessary to do that. So if we put $4,000 into this truck, which may be how we will proceed, it will be in very good condition and it will be suitable for auction. If the auctioneers tell us that it might be better not to make the repairs and just sell it, knowing what the repairs are, just listing them, then we might go that route. We have to see how it works out. So that's what I want. I want to get authorization to do those things.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. The $4,000 in repairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that the manufacturer of this vehicle is no longer in business.
Mm-hmm.
So to get any OEM parts, it's virtually impossible. And I'm not sure where they would get parts, to this particular fire engine. So to me, that's a concern to invest $4,000 into a vehicle that needs a lot of work. I'm not sure.
Well, this is the township's mechanic that we use for DPW, they were calling it.
Right.
And that's what he came up with. So I'm not a mechanic.
Right.
And that's his number,
No, I understand, and that's fair. So here's Oxford offering 6,000 for the vehicles. We're willing to put $4,000 to fix it up, and we don't know what's going to auction off at. Do we have a clue of what it's?
Oh, yeah, they gave me that in writing.
What's it
They
worth?
said the fire engine is worth 75,000, and they will, not to take less than 65.
It's a guarantee.
You can guarantee it, that's what they told me, they thought it was worth. I don't know if it'll go for that much,
Right.
but this is a well-known broker that deals with hundreds of fire engines.
Listen, anything over 10,000 is a win for us.
Yeah.
I
Right.
get that.
So if they're telling me 75,000 in writing, don't take less than 65,
And this is after we invest the 4,000.
why wouldn't I do that? Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I thought,
Right.
were we gonna get someone to look at it and give us an estimate of how much it's
Just
Well, the
currently?
fire department took care of that for me. They went out and got somebody to look at it, and got an estimate,
And what was that number?
$4,000.
For repairs.
No. What, yeah, the value,
Appraisal.
This is the
value
fire engine you
appraisal?
wanted to give away for 6,000.
no, my
I can
question.
get 75 for it, and you're asking me
No.
about appraisals?
Yes.
No, we were just
Wait a
wondering if they
second.
got
You're
it.
75,000.
What, I got an email from the company that's the auction company. I don't know 100% if we'll go for that much.
The auction company looked at our truck
They looked at pictures
said
of
our
it, and they got a
truck
representation.
that's currently not in working condition is
Oh,
worth
yeah.
$75,000.
They said,
That's like high, I guess.
That's like,
that's what they said, they said listed at 75,000.
I thought we were gonna get someone out to look at our truck and tell us how much our truck is worth.
You didn't want to
today.
do that. You thought that was a complete waste of time and money, and why would I want to do that? Yeah,
I think spending
Play back the
$4,000 on possibly a mixed return might be,
I don't think so. I think if it's, if we're getting indications from a major broker that deals with hundreds of fire engines, that's what they're listed at, I think we should pursue it. We're going to do it through an auction. They're going to do sales on their own, and which would feed into the auction.
that auction person was aware that our truck is completely in
It's
state
not
of
completely
disrepair.
in disrepair. That's the fallacy. I mean, the mechanic that we use said it cost $4,000 to fix it.
I don't know, I think I'd like to have one of the fire guys in here to discuss it further. But
When you rely more on the mechanic who knows how to fix the trucks? You know, I don't know what happened here, and I'm really disappointed, I tell you that, but if we have a shot at getting that kind of money for this truck, we could take what we get and buy the truck to DPW.
I think if the fire department knew they'd have a shot at getting 75,000, they wouldn't be giving it up for sale.
I think their position was they kept breaking, so they knew it would break again, but if you sell it and then it breaks again, it's not a problem. So, yeah, you know,
I don't blame the firemen.
not to be mean, but.
Firemen, you know, they
Yeah.
want to get the best equipment they can for the fire department. Policemen want to get the best equipment they get for the police department. DPW guys want to get the best equipment they can get for their stuff.
Once we don't
That's
own
what
it.
they do. That's what they do. But what we're
Right,
up here to
yeah.
do is to know the difference
Mhm.
and to make the due diligence efforts to find out what things are worth and not just throw them away. That's all I have to say.
And what percentage would the auctioneer get out of this?
5%,
5%?
5 to 7, depending if
Okay.
it's exclusive or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen, again, anything over 10,000 we'll get is a win-win for us.
But I'm hoping if we get anywhere near what they said, we can buy another truck.
It's a win.
And we don't have to take it out of taxes.
Right.
Right.
Because that's our money, correct, not the fire
That's
department.
our money.
Okay. Gotta make that clear.
Okay, so,
Do we have a motion in a second?
yeah.
To vote.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilman Delcaro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
No.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesley.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see, now the next one on my list is 1565?
Yes.
All
Mhm.
right. That's a resolution authorizing the hiring of Joseph Bruschetta
Mhm.
to prepare community forestry management plan as recommended by the State Forestry Service. And we approve the payment of $1,500, down payment of $1,500 to him for his services. And I understand we get this back from grant.
What it is his actual cost is $4,500, and we were issued a grant last year for $3,000, which has to be applied to a forestry management plan. We can't use it for anything else. The grant is good until April 2016. I spoke to Alec because there was some going back and forth whether we could do this ourselves or not. He said we're out of compliance. It should have been done last year. He feels it's very difficult. Towns don't get approved the first time. Sometimes it takes 5-6 times. He said you have the grant. Spend the $1,500. It's good for 5 years, so it equates to like $300 a year. Get your plan up to date, and we'll get it manageable, and then we'll be back in approved status.
Okay.
And Joe Burchetta is very, very passionate about trees. I think
Yes,
he'll
he
do a good
is.
job.
All right,
Yes, he is.
all right, so I'll take a motion to approve this.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Del Chiaro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. All right, next one's ordinance 1504, first reading to amend and revise chapter 219 entitled Trees. I think it reads different than the other one.
Do we have 1503, ordinance 1503? Do you have that one, first reading to regulate, control, and stabilize rents?
No.
It's number
Oh, that's
5?
on the new agenda, the agenda 7 here. All right. First reading to regulate, control, and stabilize rents to the rent leveling board for a 3-year period. Discussion of properly staggering member terms. All right, this is the situation where that has to be redone every 3 years, that board. We talked about it a little bit earlier. That was a gentleman from the audience who came up and gave some discussion on it. You know, I don't know. I seek to protect the seniors, and I think there's people living there that would have a tough time. So I would not be in favor of just at this late time, you know, just cutting this board off. I think we should think about that for the next 3-year period if we want to do it and do the proper study on it to see if it's, you know, if it's a good thing for us to do. But just to do it willy-nilly like that, I don't think would be a good thing to do. You know, other than that, I know there's a situation in that committee where the members' terms are not staggered properly. So this would be an opportunity where we could stagger those terms. There's 3 members, and each have a term should be a different year, over 3 years. Because if you have 2 come in 1 year, then it's like screws the thing up when they come up. So I will turn to our attorney. Can we do that in the same, do the ordinance and then do a resolution to stagger the terms? How would you advise?
Well, right now, the best way to do this is to reconstitute the rent leveling board if you want to clear up the terms issue, because they are not expiring sequentially. So as you pointed out, there are some that are expiring together. So obviously that's needs to be corrected. I think this was done once before back in
2007 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we had an issue
Yeah.
with that. So this ordinance in front of you today obviously just keeps the rent leveling board going.
Yes.
For the 3-year term.
So we'll split it. We'll do it the ordinance and then do you think, or do we do it as well?
Definitely, no.
Or do we stagger on second reading? Kind
No,
of
but that would be a
like we
major, so here's the thing. So that would be a major change to the
Okay,
ordinance,
okay.
require another reintroduction,
Okay.
and another first reading to
Oh,
do
right,
that.
okay,
So I would not recommend changing the ordinance.
okay,
For that.
for that.
For that. So you're saying do it as a separate resolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then we'll take the ordinance first. Do I have a motion to approve or reapprove
Motion.
that board?
Second.
Second. Do we have any further discussion?
Yes.
Go.
I'm in full support of protecting our seniors. This is Lopatcong Township, and I don't want to compare our seniors that live in Lopatcong to other towns. That shouldn't be on the table, okay? We're here to protect our seniors. One day, as young people, we're going to be seniors. And hopefully the young people who are controlled then, who are in government, hope they protect us.
Right.
So but for a comment to say other towns do not have rent control, well, that's their problem. They don't want to take care of their seniors, you know, that's their problem. Maybe they should vote those people out. Anyhow, I'm here in support of our seniors, okay?
Yeah, I agree with Lou. We need to protect our seniors. They're living on steady incomes, and times are tough for everybody, especially
right.
seniors. So
Okay, so are we ready for the vote?
Yes.
Roll call.
Councilman Del Chiaro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
yes,
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes, now I make a resolution.
Mayor, I'm sorry.
What?
The best way for me to do this is for us to prepare it,
Okay,
and you can do it simultaneously at the next meeting, when you do the second reading of this ordinance.
okay.
So that ordinance goes-
Upon council's advice, we'll hold off on staggering the terms until next meeting.
Can I make a suggestion for rent leveling board of the mayor? Since we're doing this to extend it, but I know they're also looking to revamp the ordinance. Would it be prudent to, I know we wanted to try to have a liaison to every board, and we're going to try to give one to environmental. Should rent leveling board maybe have a council liaison, since especially I know they're going to be working on the ordinance.
Yes, Jim.
Any volunteers?
I'll do it.
I'll
be the liaison.
I'll have to give it due thought. Let's see. That's a tough one. Okay. Next thing, ordinance 1504, is that what you've got? As the next
Yes,
one?
Yes.
That's first reading to revise and supplement the chapter 219 entitled trees. All right, this is the one I think that had to be redone
has to
because
be
it
done.
was a mess.
Mhm.
It's way out of whack, and we only allowed 3 members. We need
Yeah.
5 to 7, so this one should be done.
Mhm.
I see, I have no objection to it.
Yeah,
So-
there was 3 things wrong with it. We had only 3 members. It's supposed to be no less than 5 and no more than 7. Our appointment said a mayor with consent of council, but the statute says just mayor. And the term length we had was 3 years, and unfortunately it's 5 years.
Other than that,
Yeah,
yeah, okay. So I'll take a motion.
motion.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesley.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Ordinance number 1505, first reading to amend and revise supplement chapter 23 entitled Environmental Commission. All right, now, this one is the one I think Juniper just spoke about.
Right.
It's a may in the law. You may add alternates. Now, I don't particularly have an objection to alternates coming in or not coming in. I don't know how Juniper seems to think that you might be doing this in order to put other people in there that
No.
would be, try to record good work. And I really hope nobody would do something
No,
like
I
that.
don't want anybody to wreck anybody's work. I have no problem pulling this. If she ever needs alternates, we can address it then.
Okay, so this will be,
Make them, yeah, you can take that off.
do we need the motion now or just? No. All right, it's cool. All right. Our next one, ordinance 1506, first reading to establish chapter authorizing CFO to pay certain bills, claims, and invoices submitted to the township for payment between meetings in an amount of $10,000 or less.
1,000. 1,000.
1,000.
See, that's how I check if you're listening. 1,000 or less, up to a total of 2,500 for the township and the Lopatcong Athletic Association. Okay.
We just got this.
Yeah, the reason something like this came about is that in between meetings, a lot of times people lay out their own personal funds, like to buy bats for the Little League or uniforms or food for something, and then they want to get their money back as soon as possible so they can pay the credit card when it comes in, but we're not meeting for another month, and so by the time we meet, they can't, they're in dire straits, I guess. So we're looking for some mechanism by which we can meet things like that. There's also a situation where sometimes an emergency comes up, like one of the trucks needs special kind of fuel or something, and we can't, they don't have a credit card that's working, the credit card breaks, all these stupid things happen. So we need to have some mechanism by which we can help people out in this fashion or meet those small immediate expenses. And so that's what this is all about. I will take a motion to approve this.
I don't know, I have some, since we just got this, there's
Yeah.
some things that I just need clarified and might need changed, and I don't know if it's too much of a substantial change. The first one's fine, the up to 1,000, so, but I just want to clarify, it's billed up to 1,000, and the total of all the bills that we pay without, a prior approval is only up to 2,500.
Correct.
Is that enough, and I don't know if Beth or Lorena, is that enough to get us the gas that we need? Because that's the problem we have. I mean, right now we have, I don't know,
Yeah,
if
that
Davis,
problem
Frank
should
of
be-
Luke Oil is helping us out a lot. Without him, we'd have no gas.
That problem should be resolved in a couple of days. Frank will be paid tomorrow. I'll go pay him myself.
But that's the thing, like, it's up to an aggregate total of 2,500. So we could have 3 bills, one for 1,000, one for 1,000, one for 500, and then we're done.
Right.
Okay. And number 2, it says mayor and council approve of and hereby authorize the written approval from the Athletic Association President or Treasurer, and Township Finance Committee. I don't understand why the Finance Committee would be involved. It should be the LA Council Liaison, because they're the ones that go to the meetings or work with them. And it's LA's money is their money. It's not township money.
Right.
And then it shouldn't be just to reimburse individual citizens who laid out personal funds. Part of the problem we're having is we're not paying our bills either. And we need to get things like the banners for basketball community day, to get uniforms, something like that. They actually have to issue checks to actual vendors too.
Do we not know about those kind of things ahead of time to get the banners? Like when they win the championship, what's the time frame?
Sometimes it's like they had a meeting that got canceled and they couldn't do it. So we're talking about situations like that. They are very, very good. They know what they're doing. It's just sometimes they need to pay the bill or somebody's cutting them off. That's what's happening too. People are saying, "Well, you haven't paid your bills. I'm not giving you anything else." So you need to try to come in here and get a check.
So, but I'm just trying to figure out, and I'm not arguing this ordinance at all. I'm just trying to ask some questions here. So when these things are happening, I just lost my train of thought. when this stuff goes on, is it more than 30 days that that these people aren't getting paid? And why is it more than 30 days?
I don't know why, but it has been.
So
I don't know what happened.
Would that be, and I'm not placing blame on anybody, but is it because the bills aren't coming in? Is it because they're missing? Is it because somebody didn't approve them? Is it because, what's the?
Be a variety of reasons, right?
Yeah, can you?
There was evidently a stack of specifically LAA bills that were turned in December.
And that was,
I wasn't here in December, so I don't know where they were. The person that they were turned into was no longer in service anymore, so I couldn't even ask where they had been placed. The problem with the gas was, with the LAA, one of their meetings was canceled, one of our meetings was canceled, and their bills did get very far behind.
Right.
For the gas, the same thing, the December bill that came in, I was unable to locate it. By the time I got the vendor to email me duplicates of the invoices in February, we made payment in February. I couldn't get the next invoice paid because the second February meeting was canceled. Right. And the first one for February then was paid in March, and the seconds are being paid this evening. So all of our gas cards should be effective tomorrow. I just have to send them a copy of physical check.
A lot of it's weather. It could be they don't have a quorum to approve their bills, and then there's certain things, again, there could be an emergency, like we're going to start baseball season now. If they go into the shed and they find that something, they need to purchase something. Yeah. They have an authority. They've established something where they can authorize things outside of their meeting, and then they would need to subsequently get it paid from here.
So basically, this was just really a one-time wacky occurrence that the bills weren't paid in the entire month of December.
No, I wouldn't say that. I said emergencies do come up, and they do have LAA has already established an authorization. Well, the treasurer will approve things outside of their meetings, and now we want to do the same here so it can actually get paid. So we don't keep, because they have to have their meeting, they approve it, then we have to have our meeting approve it, and then they finally get paid. Any of those meetings are canceled, or we don't have a quorum, or somebody doesn't get their. Again, sometimes their meeting is that last Tuesday. We have our meeting the next day. He can't get the things in here quick enough, all the purchase orders signed in here enough. He's got to wait another month. Sometimes some of those bills have to be paid.
But even if he has the right to do that without going to the meeting, the treasurer has the right to pay the bills.
Yeah, but then we need to also get the check out the door. So this is what this authorization is for.
Yeah, I get that. I anything more than $2,500, it to me is kind of it's a lot to pay.
I know, but first of all, it's their money. It's their money, not taxpayer money. It's their money, and I think the baseball mound costs $3,500. Yeah.
Okay. So this is their own bank account.
It's their own money. It's their money, not taxpayer money.
We just wanted to clarify something. I'm sorry to interrupt. I did email the auditor to ask him for input for that, and he did say that once their money is deposited into a municipal bank account, it becomes our money. So
that we have to check it. Yeah.
Right. It has to be treated with the same regard as we would with any other taxpayer.
It's just we don't have the authority. If they've approved something, we don't have the authority to disapprove it.
Right. No, I get that. I just think anything more than 2,500.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
Sure.
arguing that. I'm arguing the
Okay.
fact it shouldn't just be reimbursing individual citizens. It should be to pay bills too. Like if we need to pay destination athlete.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
not just,
Yeah, that's what I'm
not,
saying.
okay, I didn't,
Yeah.
okay, now
And
I
I
get what
don't
you're
want the
saying.
approval to be and the Township Finance Committee. It should
So
be the.
you're not
the
just
council
saying,
liaison.
you're not just saying Andy Horan put in a request and he wants his money. You're saying, ABC Baseball Company wants
Mhm.
their
If
money.
we need to pay them because they're not
Okay,
going to.
I'm okay with that. I just don't want to go over the 2,500.
Right, no, I don't have a problem with that. They don't either. I would just like to change, because on top it says Finance Committee or the Chief Financial Officer, which makes sense for township money.
Right.
For the LAA, it's the President or Treasurer. You can actually leave it at that. If you want to add anybody from the township, it should be the Council Liaison, not the Finance Committee.
Lorraine just stated that it is our money.
Yeah, but the Council Liaison will take care of that, since she's the one who's in contact with the LAA. I don't think the
Yeah.
Finance Committee's going to have any.
That's
idea.
fine by me, yeah. But
So if we could change that and just change that it's not just to reimburse individual citizens.
And and pay bills.
I
Yeah,
think we can do that by
like is it not a
paragraph two,
significant?
1, 2, 3, 4, fourth line, midway through, which is a
Mhm.
comment, etc. I think we put that into the words and to between and to pay between meetings or to provide for payment between meetings of all bills. Like it's an invoice.
Okay, so payments,
So it says who lay out to reimburse
Oh, yeah, you
citizens who
already
lay
have
out
that.
personal funds for the purchase of uniforms, equipment, etc., and to provide the payment between meetings of all bills.
Yeah, you already have that in there.
Yeah.
it says to reimburse individual citizens who lay out personal funds for the purchase of uniforms. You got to get rid of reimburse individual citizens.
Not the first one.
No, not the first one.
Right, just the second one.
Number 2.
But when the
You don't
first
want to
one?
do that?
Number 2, all I want to change is I want to take out Township Finance Committee and make that Council Liaison. And then where it comes down, it says, blah, 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 payments in order to reimburse individual citizens. I want to take that out. It should be just to make payments.
And also paragraph 1, change Finance Committee.
No, it's an or.
Right,
Yeah, it's an or.
it's or.
Yeah, they
All
should
right,
in
so
there
you want
anyway.
to read in order to make payments between meetings of all bills.
Payments of all bills for the purchase of uniforms, equipment, et cetera. I guess you could put it that way.
Mhm.
Payments for all bills.
And how is this going to be tracked? What's the
Well, then we
procedure for
have,
that?
we approve it at our next meeting. It'll be on our next
Yeah,
list, and we have,
Right, but we have to, okay, so
I
we're
guess
just,
Lorraine has to keep track of what
We
she's.
should keep
but
track
in
of that.
between, that's what I'm saying, in between
Let's
before
do
it
a
comes to
report on
council.
that each meeting.
Yeah.
It probably never happened, but if it does.
Yeah.
something else.
And as far as the gas cards too, I'm looking into actually trying to find an above-ground gas tank for the township. It would save the township a ton of money by having to pay tax every time we go to the gas stations and use our card. We would have our own tank, and we would be able to track where the gas is coming from, be able to disperse the money accordingly. But I think it's a good thing to look into, and I will be doing that. So hopefully we can eliminate the problem with the cards. So
All right. Do we have the necessary corrections to that document in order to make a motion to approve it?
In 1 second, yes. Patience. Okay, so paragraph 1 stays unchanged, correct?
Mhm.
Paragraph 2 is being changed for purposes of first reading. To read as follows, Mayor and Council approve of and hereby authorize upon the written approval from the Lopatcong Athletic Association President or Treasurer and Council Liaison,
Mhm.
payments in order to provide for the payment of between meetings of all bills, claims, and invoices for the purchase of uniforms, equipment, etc., in an amount of $1,000 or less, up to a total of $2,500.
Yes.
All the provisions of this
Mhm.
first reading
Mhm.
are
The
remain
same.
unchanged.
yes.
So when you publish it, if it gets
You'll
adopted,
send me a revision.
Guess it's a yes.
So we're good, right?
All right.
Get to a vote. Do we have
Yeah,
a motion?
motion. Who wants to be
Motion.
this?
Second.
Second motion. Yeah, second?
Maureen seconded.
I'm sorry. No further discussion, I suspect?
No.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Chairman Kent.
Yes. Next item, authorize Ms. Avocia LLP and Gibbons PC to meet with the town council concerning the feasibility of refunding bond. Which bond?
All of them. I think it's a 2007 series bonds, which are, what, 6 million?
The serial bonds?
Yeah. I would just like to authorize them to come and discuss the options that we have.
Well, what kind of things are you thinking about doing?
The refinancing of them. From the example that they sent us, it showed that we could save $200,000 over the life of the bond.
Now, what is the life of the bond?
I'm not sure how many years left. It came out to about $12,000 to $15,000 a year.
They expire in 2027.
2027.
So is your intent to add additional term?
I don't know the terms of that. I would like them to come and explain to us those terms. Like, would it be, because I certainly wouldn't want to extend the term, because then that would probably end up costing you money, but I would like them to give us an analysis.
Would it be better to shorten the term and forego any immediate interest rate savings?
If they can show us a savings, certainly, I would just like them to come and present some of those options to us.
And how about the bond anticipation notes? What are your plans for those?
I don't have any plans at this time, but hopefully they do.
Now, did the serial bonds have prepayment penalties?
We'd have to look at the, yeah.
Yes, we would.
Okay. When do they have an idea of when they want to come in, or how would we do this? Would they do it at the next meeting?
Yeah, we could invite them at the next meeting if they're available
Okay.
to come in. I know they had sent us a presentation, but I think they should come in and explain it.
Yeah,
So we
mine
can
got
ask
cut
all
off
those.
on the edges, so I
Yeah.
couldn't read it.
Yeah. So they could explain those things, because I certainly wouldn't want to incur any prepayment penalties. I don't want to extend the life of them, because then that actually will end up costing you money.
Yeah,
I'd
and
just
we
like
need the
them.
fees associated with it as well.
Right, yeah.
Now, this is going to happen at a meeting, one of our council meetings.
Mhm.
So the April 1 council meeting you're aiming for?
If they can come, yeah.
They can come,
Yeah.
okay. All right, then, I'll ask for a motion on this one.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Chairman Kent.
Yes. The next item is Juniper Lifer's request for the township consideration of allowing the use of round tip arrows at the Boy Scout of America's Cub Scout camp held in Lopatcong Park every summer. And I believe, Mrs. Dills, you got something from the insurance company on this?
Yes, I did. They responded, they would like the township to enter into a facilities use agreement with Boy Scouts, which includes an identification and hold harmless agreement, as well as listing the township as additional insured. Coverage should be primary and non-contributory to the benefit of the township. Limits of liability should be no less than $1 million for occurrence annual aggregate, and recommend $2 million umbrella limit. If transportation is provided by the Boy Scouts of America for the troop to the Lopatcong camp, evidence of the automobile liability in the same amount as well as workers' comp, in the event any of the camp counselors, trainers, etc., are employed by the Boy Scouts. So I can send you all that.
All right, then subject to the,
Is it any different than any of the documentation of the normal contract? that
You better get
with
it.
the DSA?
gotta get it, so you're sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't handle that. She handles that.
Okay.
Do they usually give us the insurance?
I have to check into
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it.
All right, subject to the insurance company's requirements as read by Mrs. Dilts, I will take a motion to approve Jennifer Lifer's request for the use of round tip arrows.
Motion.
What'd I call you?
Motion, Jennifer.
That's the other life right now.
Second, anybody?
Okay, roll call, please. Oh, and do we have, I'm sorry, any discussion?
How does
Well,
round
this
tips
is-
work?
What?
You talk about round tip
Yeah,
arrows.
round
Round tip, the round tip on the end, so.
Would it have Velcro at the tip?
Right
No.
now, we are the only New Jersey camp that doesn't allow the little
The real,
regular
yeah.
Rigby arrow.
Little
that
Right.
goes ahead. Right now, they have to shoot a blunt tip out that
Wait,
bounces off a piece of wood.
Yeah, it's not gonna go in
We have
without
a
the tip.
certified instructor. We
Are you asking her, because maybe she should, are we allowed to have this dialogue?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There, I can explain it to
Yeah.
you, since,
Yeah.
you know, my husband's a bow hunter. There's the round tip that you use
Right.
to practice,
Right.
so it'll allow you to get through the target. It's not the broadhead that could actually kill somebody. So that's,
Okay, so
yeah,
it's the target.
it's for targets,
Okay,
yeah.
so that could be a solid target. which is
Well, it's for
bounce
like
off.
hay or like, yeah,
Okay, hay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So if you don't have the round tip on, they bounce right off. If you
Yeah.
have the round tip on, they'll
They'll
go
go through.
in. If you have the
Yeah.
broad head, you'll kill something.
Right.
So they're using round tip.
Yeah. You don't want
Tell
them-
Lou what it is. I think he wants to.
No.
Yeah.
So we're only going to approve this based on Juniper obtaining additional insurance to cover.
Whatever insurance is needed, yes.
Juniper meeting the requirements of
Mhm.
the.
For the Boy
led by
Scouts,
Mrs.
meeting the requirements, the Boy
Right.
Boy Scouts
Boy
of America.
Scouts.
Okay.
I'm just representing a cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a volunteer.
Thank you, and let's have a roll call, please.
Wait.
Councilman Belcarra.
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Council President Cheslin.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now we have this request from the State Line of Junior Lacrosse to use our basketball court and pool parking lot for practices. Not our fields, our basketball court and pool parking lot. Again, Mrs. Stilts, you've gotten something on that?
Yes, we did send that off to the insurance company to take a look at, and it's actually a greater liability exposure for the township with an increase in injuries playing on a parking lot versus a grass or turf field. And then, well, at that point, they didn't have any information as to whether the group is a school-sponsored team or club activity, but if we decide to allow it, it would take a facilities use agreement with an indemnification, hold harmless, and an additional insured requirement on the primary and non-contributory basis to benefit the township.
And they recommended we don't use the parking lot, correct?
It's not a great.
Okay, yeah.
Right, because there's more
Flow,
opportunity for them to have injuries on a paved
busy
field.
time of the year.
Right.
Yeah, that parking lot's
Even
very
the
busy.
basketball court presents problems.
Right.
And also, the basketball court should be used for basketball.
That's right.
These
Right.
people do, if they're practicing at a facility now, maybe they need to remain there until the fields are.
I don't mind the basketball court if they're wearing sneakers appropriate for the basketball court, because what is this, lacrosse? Yeah, so it's in the air.
There's kids that want to play
Yeah,
basketball.
but you have-
Yeah.
you have the poles.
Right.
Well, they would have to,
And his letter said 5 to
well,
8.
we have a rental agreement for that. Perhaps they have to enter into that. Like, they would actually have to rent the basketball courts and pay us the money that we have agreed to on the fee. So maybe we can go back to them and say, listen, you can use the basketball court as long as you're wearing sneakers appropriate for it, and you have to fill out and pay the money.
I think we should, but he just says practice from 5:30 to 8. Now, again, there's kids that go up there to play basketball.
Yeah.
If they
Now-
rent it and pay for it, though.
He didn't say what days. Was it every day? Was it one day a week? I think we need to get,
Yeah.
again, if a parent's driving them all the way up there to play basketball and the lacrosse team's on there.
Well, even with the rental, would that still be a greater liability, whether we're renting it or not renting it? The increased liability would still be there?
Yeah, they would still
Well, they have to
obtain
provide their insurance, which is part of our rental agreement anyways. They have to provide a certificate of liability for at least $1 million.
How come they want to rent the parking lot? I mean, use parking, is it because it's a
They want to
sponge?
use the fields, the fields are too wet. They're
Too
not
wet,
Right.
yeah, it's a sponge,
So-
right.
They want them outside,
So
so
now
they're
they're looking
acclimating.
for another spot to go, and it's just
Mhm.
not safe.
Hmm.
As long as it takes away the liability by them renting, I don't want it to be on the township for that.
Okay, we try to limit their exposure.
Right.
Do
I
those
mean, if-
contracts require insurance and everything?
Yes.
Sure. Okay, what do you think?
If they're willing to rent it and pay our agreed fees and give us the insurance and sign the contract, then
Yeah, and I guess maybe to find out how many days too, like Maureen said.
Yeah, they got their own facilities. I really don't like.
club, junior,
The junior looks.
the junior level, it's
Oh,
like
State
7th
Leonard's
and 8th
junior
grade.
lacrosse. Yeah, I agree.
I used to play baseball and football on pavement.
So did I. That's why you.
We all
Yeah,
did.
but now we need insurance.
The thing is, I know, but you do get banged up, so,
If it's,
but it is an exposure to the township, I understand that.
And members of the public are going to be going up there now. The weather's getting nice to play, to get out in the fresh air, and the lacrosse team's taking up the basketball.
Okay. So where are we? Did we motion this yet? No.
It's a good point. We have tennis courts.
I'll put out the motion that we approve this. Do I have a second?
To approve it, Mayor?
Yes, to approve it so we can be voted up or down. Do I have a second on the approval?
Second.
There's a second. A roll call?
Councilman Belcarra,
No.
Councilwoman McKay,
No.
Councilwoman Schneider,
no,
Council President Chesler?
No.
And Mayor McKay?
No. Okay. Next one, eliminate the position salary of the township administrator.
This, I put on here,
Well, we're going to do a motion. I'll take a
yeah,
motion.
motion.
Motion?
Second.
I didn't make it, I'm asking.
I made a motion.
All right, Lori, second?
Second.
This is, unfortunately, we can't, we have to cut our expenses. I don't want to eliminate the position of township administrator. I need one. So, but what I have to do is I have to ask our township administrator, which is Clerk Diltz, if she wants to keep the job. She's going to have to do it at no salary because we just can't. We have to make cuts in the salary. Otherwise, if you're not, I'll just eliminate the position. So, if you'd be willing to do that, then
I understand, and yes.
because unfortunately it's happening all over, and we just can't keep going on like this. So,
I have a question. Has that already been taken out of the budget?
no, that's why I wanted to hold off, because we can take it out, and it is actually with under the 10%. So that's only an amendment because it's in the clerk's budget, which is like $198,000. So to take out 15.6 will be within an amendment.
So it would be, it's not by line item, it's by category? Is it, it's by the top?
The line
Number?
item in here is, yeah.
One of the classifications, a certain percentage on the line item.
But we can reintroduce it again.
Right.
Yes, we can reintroduce the
Yeah.
budget. We have the option to reintroduce the budget, correct? Okay.
The amendment isn't adopted.
Yes.
The variable set.
Right.
And now this thing reads, eliminate the position.
Well, that's what I'm making.
Salary.
It's only be
What?
the position if she was not willing to do the job without the salary. So
Well, that's all.
I'd like to make a resolution then at this point to eliminate the salary of the township administrator.
Well, I think if you eliminate the position, then the salary, there's no salary there's no.
Yeah, I don't want to
there's no
eliminate the
taxes.
position.
You don't want to eliminate.
No, just the salary.
Well, it's
So,
And-
so Beth's going to serve as the administrator for no
Yeah.
salary.
Mhm.
Okay.
As she does as
Or as part
recreation
of-
director.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
15.6.
yeah.
$15,600. So essentially, the motion would be to eliminate the salary of the township administrator.
well, that's the motion you want to make?
Yes.
Salary.
This year's budget.
Yes, in this year's budget.
What?
In this year's budget. Not next year's, this year's.
No.
Why not? It's going to save us money.
Because this isn't some kind of stupid thing. I mean, if you want
Why
to
is it
eliminate
stupid?
that position,
I don't want to eliminate the position at all. I just want to get rid of the salary. She's already doing the pool and the recreation she said she would do it.
I know she's already stretched for time as it is.
She's already the administrator.
Right, and I know when, well, this would have to be something for executive session, for this discussion.
I don't think so. Why?
it's a personnel matter.
Well, Beth, not to interrupt, it doesn't have, personal matters can be discussed in executive, they don't have to be. Beth, are you willing to have this discussion in open time?
Okay, I'm just saying, she's very busy as it is, and I know when we need, help from other, have people try and help in other areas, there's a lot of work from what Beth tells us in the building that she needs to do. So if she continues with doing that and doing recreation and continues on that, I just have it's a lot of work for one person, and I don't want things to start not getting done because it's of no
she's already
charge.
doing the job.
Yeah, I know that, but
She does a great job with the pool at no charge.
I know that, but I think if to eliminate it would probably be a better way to go.
I don't want to eliminate the
She doesn't
position.
take pay when she's working over at the pool?
No,
She doesn't get paid at all?
No, because it's during the day.
nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing.
She's
Nothing in addition, and it's not
So
part of her
she's
clerk
right.
duty.
She's
Checks
volunteering her time and energy to the pool.
For the pool, she does not get paid. All that work that she does for recall in the pool, she does not get paid for that. No salary.
At all?
Is it done on
She
work,
gets her
but
clerk
it's
salary.
done
So
on,
she's getting paid because she's working.
It's not part of
Not
her
for the
clerk duties.
pool.
It's not her clerk duties.
but it's done on
Recreation,
work
recall.
time,
No, she's there after hours and in the morning.
every time.
Yes,
So during 9 to 5, she's never at the
That's
pool.
how it's
only
been.
if they have an emergency, which you would have to have
Right.
anyway.
I am at 9 to 5, not very often, no, but it's at nights and weekends, holidays.
But again, we're talking about the administrator here, not the pool. Let's.
Yeah,
we're off
no,
the topic.
I'm just trying to,
The topic is we have someone who's willing to do the job
That's-
and she just stated without salary.
Yes,
So
fine,
I'm not sure
okay.
what you're all discussing.
Well, I made a motion to eliminate the salary of the township administrator. Beth has agreed.
But
Right.
but you made an agenda item to eliminate the position.
Well, I was
It was
gonna
for
have
the-
to, I was gonna have to eliminate it if you
Position
didn't
slash
say that.
salary.
Well, I think
Okay.
we should vote first on that.
that's fine. That's
So
fine.
first on what?
It's fine.
What's your agenda item? To eliminate the position.
Well, I'm
So-
changing
She's
it.
saying it's salary.
I think you should change it.
I can change it.
She's just
You're
taking the
right.
word position
right.
off,
Just taking the position off.
she's taking the word position and
Just like
leaving.
we've amended the
We
ordinance.
just amended the other ones
That's how we do this,
as we went along.
as we went along.
I don't care, just whatever you
Handle
want to do.
So the motion is to eliminate the salary of township administrator.
For 1 year,
This year.
this year.
No,
None of us.
going forward.
Going forward, now you change.
It's a resolution, it's 1 year. It's a resolution, it's a 1-year
So we'll do a
thing.
resolution, then I'll do an ordinance next month.
Let's wait and do the ordinance next month.
No, I want it now, so it's out of the budget. I have a motion on the floor. Can we vote?
In the section,
Second.
further discussion.
Yeah, further discussion.
I just, I don't know.
I think it's a great thing.
It's fine.
We're saving some money here, and
Yep.
I don't see what the big deal is.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're saving 15,600, and she's willing to do it for free.
Right.
The administrative that she's currently doing now, there's no difference.
Doing the work.
She's going to do her
Right,
job, minus the 15,600. Does that make sense out there?
Someone's given up a part of their,
It makes sense, right? It's a no-brainer.
She's,
All right, let's guys, we shouldn't have opened that up
We start
to,
small.
wait.
Let's not.
we have to vote.
We shouldn't be opening that up to the floor.
Any further discussion?
no.
All right.
Nope.
Then let's,
Vote.
have a roll call.
Councilman Belcarra,
Yes.
Councilwoman McKay,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
No. All right. Now, this is, the next thing is to shared services discussion, to share the services of a municipal clerk and tax assessor, and to authorize a joint meeting if applicable. Now, I know about this because I've been talking to the local mayors about all the problems that we little towns have, and one of the things we bring up a lot is shared services, we bring up different ways to raise money, but I believe Councilwoman Sessler,
Chesla.
what?
Chesla.
What's your name?
Chesla. Chesla.
I call her June.
I know. Jennifer Chesla, that's my name.
Okay, that's cool. Spoke to Mayor Kern over in Pohat about including shared services. Now, I understand from Mayor Kern, what he wants to do is have a meeting with both town councils, an open meeting within a few weeks, to discuss generally on whether shared services work for the two towns. Is that approximately it?
Yeah, that's what, and I know last night that they voted to do the same. They actually said all their core employees, so, I mean, that might be up for discussion. I think he may want to, they may want to discuss all the 4 core that are covered by the pilot program. And what he does want to do is he wants to authorize a joint meeting between the 2 councils so we can discuss this and kind of get it moving. They're in the same, they have budget issues over there too, and they're, they don't want to get rid of, if we can share services and they won't have to get rid of police officers, we can, control our expenses here too. So I think what I'd like to do with this is make a motion to schedule a joint meeting as soon as possible with Pohat being the host, since Mayor Kern and his council members all have seniority over us.
Yeah, that's fine. I just have a question. When you were talking to Mayor Kearns,
Kern.
did you refer him, did you tell him that we have a shared service committee
Yes, he was aware of
that he could be directed to?
Yes, and he knows I was on it last year. We were speaking last year. So he just reached out to me because I know him and he wants the entire council involved, just like he wants his entire council involved. He doesn't want it between committees.
Well, he actually said you called him, so he didn't reach out to you. You called him.
We've been calling each
Right.
other back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it would have been nice to maybe have talked to the shared service committee before bringing it out to the meeting, so we were aware, and we can call Mayor Kern and we
Well,
can
you
talk
received
with
a
him
letter
as
from
well.
him, didn't
I
you?
did not receive a letter
Why
from
not?
him. I don't know.
Wasn't it sent to mayor and council?
I didn't get it.
We have to watch. Some letters are coming in addressed to mayor and council. They need to be copied to go to council, but he did send a letter to all of council.
I didn't receive it.
I saw him out and he asked me if I got the letter and I said I hadn't. He gave me a copy. I just didn't, I'm not in here all the time like you guys are, so.
Yeah, I just, you know, from here on in, maybe we can have shared service committee take
Well, he
care of
wants to
this.
do the two councils together. He doesn't want committees. He wants the two councils together.
Right, but our township has a shared service
I
committee.
know, but he doesn't want to work with a committee. He wants to work with the entire council. That's his request.
Okay, well, that's not, but that wasn't your decision to make.
No, and that's why I'm putting it to a vote.
Yeah,
We
but
can authorize a joint meeting of the two
yeah,
councils.
you,
I think
yeah.
shared service is important enough that we should all be involved.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
think this should be
definitely,
limited
without a
to
Oh,
any one.
well, that's funny because when you were doing it last year, you wouldn't let anybody be involved. So,
When asked to be involved, Donna.
right, because
So-
nothing was brought to council to let us know that anything was going on.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize a joint meeting between Cohasset and Lopatcong town councils to be hosted by Mayor Kern and Cohasset.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would just like from here on in for the shared service committee to be part of this and, well, actually to execute this and along with the mayor who seems to have already had discussions with Mayor Kern.
So that would just leave Maureen and I out. Yeah, that's why Jimmy Kern wants all of us in there, because he's not like that.
Right, you will be at the meeting, but setting these things up and talking behind the scenes should be the shared service committee.
That's right.
That's why we have one.
It's already been set up, so we're voting on having the meeting.
Right, it's already been set up. Exactly, Maureen, my point.
We must not overstep our bounds.
We are
Everybody
not.
has-
We must not be
Stepping
secret
in
either.
We have our committees. We try to keep things in an orderly fashion
Mhm.
and to do things for political reasons. And-
Yeah, so which is why.
It's for the best of the township.
Yeah,
Of
he doesn't
course,
want it to
and
be
the
political.
shared
He wants all
service
of us
committee
together.
is for the best of the township. And it's not Mayor Kern's decision to decide who he's dealing
Well,
with
that's
here.
what he asked his council to do that last night. and they
That's
agreed.
fine.
So now I'm
That's-
asking our council.
That's fine, but
It's
you
up
are
to
not
them.
shared service, Lori. And it would have been
But I am a member of
appreciated
this
to have
council and I'm
brought them.
council president, and you were supposed to get a letter. I don't know what happened to it. The mayor didn't copy it and give you a copy. That's not my problem.
And Lori, council president does not give you any other right
I think
to
all
do
council
things.
has the right to do things in
No.
town and bring
Oh,
up anything.
No,
I think we
you
should
know
move
what?
forward,
yeah.
please.
Because,
We need to take a vote.
because you've been called out on something, you're going to dismiss it.
I'm
And
not going to dismiss
you
it.
have, and that's okay.
Whatever.
I think the whole council needs to be involved in this. And we can't control what neighboring towns, who they reach
Well,
out
she
Oh,
to.
wants
we
to control
absolutely
everything.
can.
That's why she doesn't want us
That's
involved.
not how
That's right. I want to control everything.
Yes.
Please,
Yes.
please do.
You know, I don't think it's a bad idea to sit down with another municipalities, the whole board, and
Right.
discuss this openly. It's
Right.
not a bad idea.
It's not.
And I don't understand why we're creating friction right now.
It's not a bad
No.
idea. No one's
No,
disputing that.
Okay.
Speaking of committee,
I
Lou,
understand
how
that.
many meetings of the finance committee were you invited to with Donna?
Lots.
Did you come here? Did you do all that work with her? No, she's been doing it on her
No, I
own.
haven't.
Because I've asked him,
So why
and
don't
he
you
can't
do it
come
when
in
he's not
during the
working?
day. Well, because the employees aren't here at nighttime.
Well, they know that we all work. They're willing to work with us.
Can we move forward, please?
I think,
They're not work- they're not here.
let's
She
move
was
ahead.
willing to
I think
come to
it's a great idea to,
Yeah, let
there's a
me,
municipality
Yeah.
that has an interest in shared services. Let's sit down and let's discuss this.
that's absolutely
Okay.
fine. And let me clarify this. I am not saying that only two of us should sit down with the township. We all should sit down with the township. What I'm saying is, when this was brought up, this should have gone to the shared service team, not to Lori to make these decisions, to say
not
okay to
making
Mayor
these
Kern,
decisions.
and to go forward with this. So let's make that clear.
I'm not making the decision. I'm asking you to vote on it.
You made the
Yes, it was
decision.
brought on the agenda to be
Right,
discussed.
and that's not
We're
how
discussing
it works. That's not how it works.
It does.
I'm sorry if it's too transparent for you.
Yeah, okay, you're so transparent, you're not.
Okay. Can we please?
Plus the insults. We already have one lawsuit because of that, don't we?
That's right. Keep going, Lori.
Okay, I'll call the roll.
Thank you.
Councilman Belcarro,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesler.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. However, I think that any subsequent follow-up should be done by our appropriate committees in both towns. Well, I guess let's do everything. Now we go to the to an announcement. The Easter egg hunt is scheduled for Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m. There's a rain date of Sunday, March 29th at 2 p.m. Now, I'm not sure we use eggs anymore, but candy? Candy.
All candy.
Hopefully the field will be
Now, we're
flat.
looking for an Easter bunny if there's any volunteers.
That's right.
All right, council reports. Maureen, you have a report for us?
I do not have a report tonight.
Okay, Lori, do you have a report?
Recreation, we have the Easter egg hunt. Like you said, it's Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m. Our rain date is Sunday, March 29th at 2 p.m. We are looking for a volunteer to help the Easter bunny, in case there's no children in the audience. But as far as Community Day, again, is August 15th. Just to let you know, there was a lot of deliberation that goes into that date. We try to avoid every other community event. We try to avoid graduation parties, recitals, football tournaments, so we have August 15th. We have a rain date of August 16th. More details will come. You can check on the website for that. We are looking again for community participation for you guys to come set up, sell food, make money for your organization. So just give us a shout out if you want that. We're working on our thermometer that we're going to put in the park as we're trying to raise money for park improvements. One of the things one of my rec members is researching is buy a paver for a brick. You can have it engraved. We have the Autism 5K, which I believe is on, I don't have a calendar, it's the Saturday, May 16th. I'll get more information on that. I have to meet with her. I want to thank Eric, he's on the recreation. He did a ton of pull rate analysis that we went over for an hour at our meeting on Monday. And unfortunately, Clerk Dills was sick. She was going to come, so I need to go over that with her. And we're looking to do, we have movies at the pool, and we're looking to do also some theme nights we're going to try to do just to get some people in, especially with our twilight rate. Shade tree, Joe Bruschetta came to our last meeting and he gave us a very in-depth report on trees, and he's going to be doing our community forestry plan, so we'll be back in approved status. I also talked with Alec from the state, went over a bunch of stuff with that. We're going to get our people core trained. There's an opportunity actually in April in Morris County, so I sent that out to them. Hopefully they'll go to that so they don't have to go down to Atlantic City. Technology, don't forget to go on the website and sign up for our emails. Our new website shell is being worked on. We should have that shortly. Board of Ed, unfortunately, the meeting is tonight, so I have no idea what's going on over there. I will report at the next meeting because they are discussing their budget and any proposed cuts that they may have, so I'll get you that report next time. You can do it during public comment.
With respect to Shade Tree, I think if we could get one of the committees to do the clean community stuff. I don't know who's doing that now.
Clean Communities is on.
That's me.
You're doing clean communities?
Yeah, I'm liaison for clean communities. I'm liaison for the clean communities.
Oh, okay. Off my list. Speaking of Donna, do you have a report?
I do. For DPW, we have major potholes throughout the town. I know they're really bad. And unfortunately, the cold patch that they put down to try and tamp those, fill those holes right now, there's none left in the county. They can't buy it if they wanted to buy it. I did, however, manage to have them scrape up enough to do the pothole when you leave the elementary school in the back. So that one has been repaired, but we have no more. And unfortunately, the asphalt plants for the hot patch are not opening until somewhere around the first week of April. they say between April 1st and 6th. We can't take that for their, that we can't, that's not set in stone, and also weather permitting. So we're hoping to get these roads, have some repairs done as soon as we possibly can. With regards to clean community reports and tonnage reports that need to be done in the township, we currently have no one who is certified to send those reports into the township. So I would, I've had some phone calls out to some folks, and it may be that the next meeting we may have to have a resolution to provide a stipend to the woman that did them last year from Harmony. Hope, sorry. So I'm waiting for her to phone me back, and I've also reached out to Vic Camperine to see if he knows someone that would be certified willing to do those. I don't know when those reports are due. I just know that there's been a delay. So I'm going to call the state and see when they need to be in, and what we can do to get somebody to get those in, because we have no one here to do it currently. As for task force computer services, I've reached out to Nizavachia and talked to Lou, and I asked him, as we've been asking all of our professionals, if he can do better on his price. And he's agreed to look over his pricing and see if there's something he can come in at better. All of our professionals have been working with us, knowing the situation we are in this township, to try and do better with their pricing. So I'm waiting for him to get back to me on that. We did receive another quote from Jeff Jewell. It's really hard with computer services to it's kind of apples and oranges, both contracts. One's giving you kind of a flat fee with an hourly rate, and one's giving you a monthly fee with an hourly rate. So it's really hard to determine which one is actually best for the township. So he's working on that, Nizavachia, and as soon as I get that back from him, I'm hoping by the next meeting we can maybe have something done with that. I think that's it.
Did any of them, any of our professionals, the attorney or the auditor, lower their fees? The engineer did. He lowered his actual fee.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Paul is a wonderful man. Not that you're not wonderful, but you're already working at paralegal rates. You're all wonderful too.
Yes, the police also did give up some overtime as well.
What happens if they need it, Maureen? Do we just have to cover expenditure?
We didn't take it entirely, and they do have 2 officers on this year, additional, so the overtime should be lowered. We weren't very aggressive in taking money, so we've left enough there for.
Okay. And if anything happens, should a bunch of them get sick like we had that a couple of years ago?
We still have 2 officers new, so.
Right, I know, but at one point we had like 3 out on work.
Yeah, right.
Is that just a?
Well, hopefully they're younger guys and they won't get hurt as much.
But what if? Are we covered?
Yes.
Have an emergency,
Mhm.
where if it's after November, we can transfer.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay. Lou, I want to hear that sewers connection.
Nothing new on that yet.
What?
Nothing new. So I have no report on that.
What about going into the mall? Like, what? That's a disaster. Are they gonna? I know they need asphalt too. I know that they can't get it yet, but that's a high priority. Yeah.
As
Okay.
Councilwoman Schneider stated in the first week.
Yeah.
to open up. Maybe some of you have noticed the street sweepers out there cleaning up all the grit that's been poured out. So, we'll be in your neighborhood sooner or later.
I have about 10 pounds of it in my garage they can take.
I just swept the front of my house the other day. The whole front of my house, so I'm good there. But and what I'd like to do now is I want to recognize Frank Luke Oil. Used to be Frank Mobile Station on Belvedere Road. That he worked with us, concerning getting fuel for our vehicles in town, and give us credit when we didn't have the bills to pay him. So he extended the credit to us. So I just want to recognize him and thank him for that. And in return, if you guys are in the area. This gas prices are, competitive with other gas stations in the area. That's all I got.
He gives it to us at a discount too, correct? I believe Brian had said he gives it to it.
It's 8 cents on the gallon if we use the card.
Oh, okay, so we use the card.
Using the
We're not
card
using
for
the
the
cards
last.
because they screwed up on it, so, yeah. And like Donna said, Donna's looking at trying to determine whether we should have tanks. It would be more than one because we use different kinds of fuel.
Right.
Mhm.
They have
There's a
to-
cost associated with those, right?
Yeah, there is, and I'm
there's a
looking
cost,
through
but
co-op.
You don't pay
Okay.
the state tax.
Yeah, you don't.
Right, I know, but there's an initial fee to set it up.
Yeah,
So it'd be
there is
fuel.
initial fee.
Yeah,
So
that
it'd be
has to be
cheaper.
analyzed, but it would be a
Yeah.
good thing if
Okay.
if it's cost beneficial, it would be a good thing.
Yep.
Because then we have options.
Yeah,
How big of a tank can you get?
I don't know. I actually just got the phone numbers. I talked to a few firemen in the township, and I was talking with Lorraine and some other townships that they all have tanks, and the savings is just tremendous from what they're saying. The receipts that Lorraine gets every week, it's a stack of receipts from all of the gas transactions in the township, and it's very time consuming to go through that, and it's also costing more. A gas tank, although would be a purchase up front, it's much more cost efficient.
Where would the tank go?
We would probably have one at DPW, and I'm
Is it
not
zoned
sure
for
where the
that?
other one would go.
No, we actually looked into it a few years ago and thought that fire number 2, because of the turning radius of the fire trucks, might be a better location. It's well lit.
hmm
I think.
Yeah, like Tom said, we may need 2 because we do have 2 different kinds of gasoline, so
They use the
fuel.
diesel and the fire engines.
So these vehicles be able to go anytime, right? Fuel up, so.
Yes.
We would need a generator.
You just like going to pump your own.
Right.
Yeah.
There'd be a tracking
Each guy would
system.
have a fob or something in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we know who took the fuel,
Right.
Yeah.
and it'd be camera on it probably.
And we have to look
Yeah.
for the
You need a
insurance-
generator too.
The insurance cost on that as well.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all, it will all be determined which way is the best way to go.
Preliminary stuff, just looking into.
Okay,
Okay.
you'll provide us with a return on investment
Yes,
for that.
yes, I'll give you an ROI on that.
Okay, the engineer does not have a report. The CFO, he gave you a report already. You don't have another one, do you? All right, and we have to make a motion to approve the department reports.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have pay bills on the agenda.
No.
I can get those with-
Oh, here I have payment of bills on the third page.
Oh, it's on the third.
It's on the third page.
The amount.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I
there's a
can get
third
that.
page.
Oh,
All right,
I couldn't-
pay bills.
Yeah, you have the third page.
Yep, jeez. Okay,
Unbelievable.
got it.
Make a motion to pay bills?
Yeah. Motion-
Second.
Well, I want to read the amount.
Okay.
Is that appropriate?
Yes.
The grand total approved for payment on March 18th, 2015 is $940,878.35. Motion to approve paid bills.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Yeah.
I will go
Do a
back.
roll call. This is one. Yeah.
Councilman Delcara,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCabe,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Council President Chesney.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we are now, a motion to open the floor for audience participation. Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Audience participation. Mrs. Devos.
The boss. Not like Devo.
To Sundance. First of all, the first thing I'd like to say is I will explain what I was doing in the office that day and why I was there for, I think, almost 5 hours. I was doing an Oprah request that I had permission from Katrina Campbell in writing to do. And so that's what I was doing there. The other part that I do, we have, I wrote it down, we have 688 rental units. And I check, depending on how many each month are renewed, I check them against the old lease and then against the rent rolls to make sure they're in compliance. That does take a fair amount of time. I have 2 other comments, and one's related to the Oprah request, and the other one is related directly to the tax assessor. First, I did a search, and this is what I Oprah'd, a search of all the veterans exempt properties in the township. Every veteran, past, present, killed in action, missing in action, widows or widowers of veterans are entitled to a deduction of $250 per year from their property taxes. This search revealed that the township has allowed approximately $25,000 of unallowed deductions to be taken. I don't know how many years it's gone on because I didn't check the previous years. It took enough time to check the 2014. A list by lot and block of all the properties receiving the veteran's deduction whose owner is not listed as a veteran or a surviving spouse is in the package I have for all of you. It seems that when a property that has a veteran's deduction is sold or transferred to another owner, the veteran's deduction has just continued with the property. I also found several properties that are receiving senior discounts of $250 for properties that are no longer owned by a senior, but they're not listed in the documents given to you unless I specifically noted them. It's your obligation under the Faulkner Act, upon which you've several times relied, to enforce the laws of the township. To the extent that anyone is intentionally, negligently, or even inadvertently underassessed to the detriment of every other taxpayer in the township, I expect you to do your due diligence and legal duty and correct it. And I'll give you a copy of it. My other concern was another OPRA request that I did. I OPRA'd Ms. Dagan's time cards for 2014 and 15. I only went through 3 months of time cards because they are so difficult, and I made a copy of them for you too, along with this, to compute. The time clock stamps are not clear enough to read. The time clock times are in some cases scratched out, and there are handwritten times, just a couple, not a bunch. Holidays and snow days are confusing as recorded. However, in recording the actual hours that I could figure out stamped on the time cards, I could account for 42 hours in January of 2014, 31.5 hours in February of 2014, and 32 hours in March of 2014. She also did record 9 hours of inspections, but not the specific time she was doing inspections or the specific properties. So I had no way to verify how long the inspections took and where they actually took place. I'm not saying they didn't take place, I'm just saying where they took place. I've also requested copies of the inspection reports, but as of this date have not received them. I'm not aware of what holidays and snow days that she was entitled to during this period. So that could be a factor here. However, it does appear that she worked 105 hours plus 9 hours of inspections. Her contract calls for 17 hours per week for the first 12 weeks. For the first 12 weeks of 2014. She should have worked 204 hours, but the time cards show that she owes the town actually 89.5 hours or 5.26 weeks for just the first quarter of 2014. To be fair, I have no way of knowing if she made up these hours or not. If I take this and I extrapolate this pattern to cover a year, the tax assessor owes the town approximately 21.4 weeks or a few days more than 4 months. At the very least, an audit of the tax assessor's time would be indicated. And I have a copy of all of this for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some questions as far as the veterans deductions go. So what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to, when the house is sold or transferred, we're supposed to take that discount off?
Yes.
And that doesn't, unless it's a, is it, or a widow, is that correct?
Or widow, yes.
So how do we?
The person is supposed to do that.
Tax assessor.
Is it the tax assessor, Mrs. Jones? I don't know.
Yes.
What do you think it is?
When the deed comes in, there's an automatic spot to take it off. If they're audited by the state every 4 years on a veteran,
Yeah.
You want to come up, Kathy, because they can't hear you.
So she can give it to myself and Rachel because they are notes constantly to get audited by the state. So the state does come in and look at our records.
When was our last audit?
About 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years ago. Can we look into these? Can we look into these to see if can you and Rachel? Okay.
We every day go through them now. If you get a new deed and if there's a widow of the veteran, keeps that.
Right, she keeps that.
So, like I said, once the new deed comes in, there's a place that you put the new deed on, it automatically will come on.
Again, the list I have, will go through it and verify it, Rachel and myself.
All right. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Imhoff.
Thank you.
Mr. Imhoff, 240 Aurora Street. I really didn't know that a rent leveling board chairman's job was so encompassing. As a volunteer, they look over employee time cards in the township. But I guess
That was an Oprah request.
that's okay.
Any resident can do an Oprah request, not even a resident. Somebody in Florida can do an Oprah.
Joe, you've sat and reviewed records in the office yourself. So what are you talking about?
And had Phyllis there with me while I opened the request.
She had people there with her as well.
So, my question, when you passed this ordinance first reading, properly staggering member terms, is this what you're talking about? Terms of office shall expire on December 31st. On the first year of the board's existence, one member shall serve until December 31st of that year. The second member shall serve until December 31st of the following year. And the third member shall serve until December 31st of the third year?
Yes.
Well, it's in your ordinance.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So they're going to do it next meeting.
Determine who those board members are going to be, whose terms are going to expire first, second, and third.
And is that a mayoral appointment, mayoral decision? Oh, okay. Two quick questions. One, talking about shared services, and somebody brought up police department. Does this in fact then do away with the South Warren Regional Police
No,
Commission?
I just mentioned that if we can find savings through the Shared Service Pilot Act, which the governor enacted in October 2013, and which Warren County is in the pilot program, then maybe it could help. Like I know Pohat was faced with the, quadrum of having to maybe, lay off police officers. If we can find savings, both towns can find savings in shared services, maybe they can. That won't be a possibility either now or in the future. I can't speak for Pohat.
Are you liquidating the Lopatcong Police Department?
No, that's not what I said. I know one of the things that was on the Pohat possibility, I think one of the council members had suggested eliminating police positions.
In
like actually letting
Pohat,
somebody else-
not
in
here.
Pohat, not
In
here.
Pohat, not
Pohat.
here. So if we save funds with the shared service, they would not have to lay off a police officer in Pohat. If
Pohat.
In fact, that's what they were planning to do.
Yeah.
Not us.
So if we save money with shared services, does not that do away with the concept of the independent organization known as South Warren Police Commission?
That's two separate things.
And finally, if the rent leveling board is still intact, is there a meeting tomorrow night? No meeting tomorrow night. And, well, that answers my question on the questions I asked 2 months ago from Katrina and gave a copy to Mr. Lavery last month. Evidently, they don't think that's enough reason to have a meeting, so
I don't think they're required to meet every single month.
they're really not, because they only met once last year. Thank you very much.
And they've already met once this year. Thank you.
That was a reorganization meeting.
They met.
Yes. Jennifer Lightfoot, 32 Jade Lane.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Miss, I can't even, she
Yeah,
has a
I
lot of
can't
creative
even
names. I can't even remember them all. I wanted to first thank you very much for pulling that change in the ordinance off the agenda. I really appreciate that. I hope you understand what my concerns were, and I expressed them, and you listened to me, and you heard me out, and you took it off. And I may come back to you later and say, in fact, I do need that.
If you want more people, just let us.
Exactly. And I really appreciate you understanding that, because I think that that's something that you all need to recognize, is that there are some things where there's just appearances here.
Right.
And because the situation on council has become so contentious for so long, that we have to be careful of that. And we have to make sure that the things that we're doing don't look to be political, and it's in the interest of, the best interest of everyone in the township. Maybe we should start meetings after 10 p.m. because everybody's a lot more docile now. So that might be a good strategy for us. But hopefully we can avoid the witch hunts, and it's really gonna start with you guys up there. I'm serious. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When you guys work together, you do perfectly fine. There's a way to get beyond your disagreements. There is. And the people in this township are currently pitted against each other in a way that is not going to change unless you step forward and change it first, because you are the leaders of this township. And I really strongly believe that. I have worked very hard to put my best foot forward and to do that. That's why I was so upset when I came in, Maureen, and you accused me of something, and I'm not here to hash that out. I don't care. I just need you to understand that I am far too busy of a person. I have 7
We're all
different
too
jobs.
busy, and we've already discussed it.
Well, actually, see what you're doing right there is not at all in the interest of what I'm saying.
No.
If I come into the municipal building to speak to Beth about something, I don't want to be accosted, and then we don't have to do
And you
that.
weren't accosted, so I'd appreciate it if you'd stop saying that.
Actually,
Because I disagreed with you, you were accosted? I don't want to get into it.
You came in hollering and you yelled at me and you accused me of all kinds of things that simply weren't true.
You're continuing, and I told you we're not discussing it.
Well, it's really not your option
you're right.
discussion. I'm in public
You're
comment.
right. Please, continue.
Okay, so clearly, the first part of my commentary didn't come across very well.
Clearly.
We're all tired.
We can do better, Maureen, and it's going to start. It's going to start with you.
Absolutely.
I'm making a public comment. Can you please allow me?
Okay.
Cheers, cheers.
I mean, really.
Everybody behave, everybody go.
And Lori, after I left the township building that day, I called you directly.
I know, and
because
I'm
you were-
sorry I didn't.
And that's
I
fine.
was in the
We're all
middle of
busy.
something with my daughter.
I
I'm really
completely
sorry.
get that. But my point is that I reached out to you because you were the only one I could think
I know,
of
and I'm
who
sorry.
could have an impact. I'm not upset with you for not returning my
Please call
call.
me anytime.
I reached out because I thought that you might be able to get through, because I really, we can do better, and it's up to us, and
agree.
somebody's going to have to take the lead on doing better, because that's not going to fly.
And I thank you for
When I walked into the building, I was suspicious of nothing. When I walked out, I was suspicious of an awful lot of whatever was going on in there. But, you know, like I said, I'm too busy to stage a coup. I serve a lot of different volunteer roles in this community. I have a job. I have a family. I've got a house. I got a lot of things to do. I don't have a voice left. But anyway, I wanted to thank you again, and hopefully we'll continue to get better and better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You already had a turn, so let him go, and then you can go again.
Let me go first.
Carlos
Yes, you
Correa,
can believe it was quick.
82 Pudding Stoneway. I was a year and a half ago. I asked for the time cards for the employees, and I was told that I needed to have all of them, that I couldn't single out one person. So it seems to me that Mrs. DeVos, for some reason, she was able to single out just one employee and able to get the time card for just that employee. So I don't know why she was able to do that and I wasn't. I had to pay a lot of money to get the punch cards of all the employees. I don't know how much she had to pay, but if that's the case, I want some of my money back. That happened a year and a half ago. I couldn't single out one person. I only wanted the time card of one person. I was told, Mr. Correa, it's either all or none. And the same thing with the payroll. It was
That'd be the attorney,
the attorney that said it to Beth Dills.
I'll look into that, Carlos, and I can check both Oprah requests and see what happened and get in contact with the attorneys and see what's going on there.
I just don't like the fact that one person in these townships apparently has the ability to get the timesheet of one single person just because they don't like them. Correa, C-O-R-R-E-A. And I filed the open request, and it cost me $190 to get punch cards plus 3 payrolls.
I think the payrolls
recall
are
that
special
too,
reports.
that many people were made to pay for copying charges, and some people are allowed to come in the office and be there for free. Yeah, it wasn't a choice.
That was a choice. Mr. Imhoff chose to come in.
He may have. I didn't want to pay.
I wasn't allowed to come in because what it is on the punch cards, there is people that are underage, and you're not supposed to see their last names, so they had to be crossed out for that specific reason. The same thing on the payroll. The payroll is the same thing. It has people underage, it has their social security numbers, so it has to be crossed out. So the punch cards, if she had the punch cards for Mrs. Deegan, it was not allowed to happen to me. I don't know how she was able to get it. Just one punch card for one employee. And I don't know if she had all the years or what she got, but it's, I was told that it had to be all the employees or nobody. I just want to make that point to the council so that they're aware of it and can investigate why Ms. Divos was allowed to just get the punch card from one person on the township. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll get to the bottom of it, Carlos.
Mrs. Divos?
The boss to Sundance Way. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Imhoff about why we don't have meetings. Unless we have a complaint and a hardship complaint or any other complaint from a resident or one of our tenants, I should say, we don't have a meeting because it wastes attorney time, it wastes attorney fees, it wastes electricity, it wastes everything here. So that's why we don't have them. We're required to have the organizational meeting every January. But if we don't have complaints, there's no reason to have a meeting. And, we can go over to Breakley Gardens and sit down and chat. We don't need to come here and waste everybody's money doing it. So
It's
that's
only when you
why.
have a complaint that has to go before the board that you need to have an official meeting
Exactly.
with the attorney and you pay her per meeting.
Exactly. So I just wanted to explain that.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very next.
Imhoff, that sort of proves my point. What's the purpose of this? If they don't have complaints, how are you going to protect senior citizens? They don't have any complaints. Why even have the commission or the board or something?
She checks everything for them. There's a lot of reasons for the committee. We're not going to take this off. That was such a contentious battle back in the years, and it definitely helps the seniors, without a doubt. And the fact that there aren't a lot of complaints mean that they're actually doing their job.
Right.
Judy Liv Tapp, 47 Kyle Drive.
I took a lot of notes today, so bear with me. And I have to find my eyeballs. Sometimes when I look at this council, I feel like I'm standing in front of my 8th grade class. So something I've wanted to say a couple times. We disagree a lot, and that's okay. It's how we approach our disagreements and how we work collaboratively to come up with a solution. So there are 2 policies today that were presented and argued relentlessly about. But in good faith, in negotiating and bargaining and having discussions, you have an argument and you have a counter argument. So come with a policy, come with a counter policy, discuss it, meet in the middle. Then it's a win-win situation, right? We have to approach everything win-win. Not, I'm going to win because I want my agenda, or I'm going to win because I want my agenda. It doesn't work that way. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for this town sometimes. So with that said, I hope that the 2 policies that were presented tonight, that there's counter policies, and then you guys can meet in the middle and discuss them instead of just closing out each other's ideas. That just doesn't work. Okay? What else did I take notes on? Attorney, this volunteer policy that came up, I just wonder from council, and I don't know what happened, we're not privy to what happened with volunteers overstepping their bounds, but what are we opening ourselves up to if someone does do something that they shouldn't be doing? Are we opening up ourselves to lawsuits or something? And that would be scary to me because we have no money.
In what context, lawsuits?
Well, if we don't set ground rules and policies, right, and you have volunteers just kind of doing what they want behind the counter and looking at people's records, and I don't know, I've been on a board of education before, I work in a school, and I'm a union president. To bring up an employee's name in public, oh my God, you just brought up our tax assessor's name and her time card and indiscretions. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I already have a phone.
Oh, I found that outrageous, so.
To be clear,
Yeah,
the
that's okay.
council did not.
No.
Remember, a citizen.
Okay, but we allowed it. Can we cut them off?
Why?
Public comment.
The citizen has every right to come on.
First
Oh, so they're allowed to, like, okay, and then they would call their lawyer, and it wouldn't be on us, as long as it's not
No,
on
it's
us.
not on us.
I don't want it on us.
No.
Okay, I don't want money spent that we don't need to spend. So I guess my question is, are we opening ourselves up by not having guidelines? I've never heard of not having guidelines for volunteers.
We have a volunteer policy. It's very, I'm trying to find it, but we do have a volunteer policy that states all the things. They're basically subjected to the same guidelines as the employees: workplace violence, harassment, sexual harassment. And then, as you know, all our LAA volunteers, anybody in recreation has to get, they have to get a background check.
So do you have to sign it? Because like, to work at a school to be a volunteer, usually you have to sign and say, I've read this, I agree to. Okay, so is that something maybe we're re-looking at to make sure it still meets our needs?
Rich, we have it, and Rich is going to go over it to make sure that it's up to date and that there's nothing in there that we need to change a little. Yeah.
All right, so that's not put to rest. I mean, we're going to still.
Oh, no, and we have one in place right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so tonight my appointment for the EDAC was discussed, and it was discussed, I think, several times. EDAC, not maybe my appointment, but EDAC was when there was the reorg. It was tabled. It was discussed along with others, but this isn't the first time that was discussed. And I didn't say anything, but tonight I wanted to speak. I'm not going to stand up here and argue why I should have this elevated position on EDAC. Nor will I involve myself in the unprofessional banter that takes place at these meetings. What I am here to do is to volunteer my time and my services to this community. My intentions are pure. They're pure in nature, with no hidden agenda or purpose other than to volunteer my time. And in the spirit of respecting and treating our professionals or volunteers professionally, I would like to remind our own council of some of the points they made this evening. And I quote, "Our volunteers are a valuable asset. Our volunteers are a sacred resource. We don't want to discourage our volunteers. We should walk alongside them and guide them. We don't want to create friction by setting rules. We need to be flexible. We need to be responsive to our residents and our volunteers." These are all comments that were made tonight by our council members. It is my understanding that there are currently volunteers serving on more than one committee. So there's, I guess, a few people that serve on several committees. I'm sure there's room for more people and more volunteers. Spending council's time arguing over committee appointments gives the impression and appearance that arguments are occurring just for the sake of arguing, and they're holding out our new volunteers. Again, this behavior isn't a welcoming behavior and currently is not following the very words that were spoken tonight by our council members. Again, I am not here to be on a committee that is a contentious committee. And I certainly don't want to be on a committee where I don't feel welcome. I'm a volunteer, and I only want to be respected as such, and to be on a committee that functions in a professional manner. With that said, if the EDAC committee doesn't want me, I'm not fighting for that committee. I hear tonight that there's possibilities on the tree committee, if there is. I'll go on that committee. If at some point you have a slot for you, I've got the energy. I've got the energy. I want to be welcomed, and I want to be able to put my 2 cents in a respectable manner, but I don't want to be in a committee where I'm not welcome.
You frighten a lot of people,
I frighten a lot of people?
because that's what you're gonna do. They don't want that. A lot of people want status quo. The same people, don't change, want the same, don't change.
I know Judy last
You're
week,
what
and
I'm
she has a lot of
trying to
energy.
get.
You should stay on EDAC
You're
because you're the
welcome.
most fun out
Never
of those
said we
three.
didn't want you on EDAC.
I don't know, but this is what I don't want. Because my job, I'm sorry, yes, we all work, we all have our hard jobs. My job is hard enough. I teach 8th graders, okay? It's park time, okay? That's all I have to say. So the fact that I'm standing up here and I'm giving the park in a few hours, forget about it. So I want to have fun. I want to feel like I'm making an impact. I want to help this town. I want to be part of it. So, but what I don't want to do is sit in your seats and fight with one another. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. It's energy that it should not be spent. It's negative energy. I don't want to be surrounded by that. So, tell me where you want me.
EDAC is the most fun.
It was me, right?
That was you.
Oh, it's always something good. Eric Johnson, 361 Stonehenge Drive. I want to thank you for looking into the pumper truck. I think that's great. I'm looking forward to see how it turns out, and I'm hoping we make a ton of money on it. The other issue I want to do, and this is what I'm seeing from an outside person, so take it for what it's worth. But on when you were talking about the policy for volunteers, I heard a couple people say, well, if there's a problem with a particular one person, we just deal with it. But you know what? You didn't. So here I'm saying is to stop talking about it. Stop talking about in generalities. If you have a problem with one person, talk about it in executive session and get it done with. You know, if I do something somebody doesn't like, don't sit there in executive session and say, hey, there's this one guy that came in that was really causing trouble. Say, Eric Johnson came in and caused trouble. Let's do something about it. Stop the generalities. Let's get down to the point, and that way it's going to go a lot quicker. So let's just be clear. If you want to do something about it, do something about it. But you have to get that in place. That was all. And I might be way out of line, but it just looked like what you're saying you want to do is not something that you have been able to do yet. So that's all. Thanks.
Well, all right, I'd like to make a motion to go out of public comment.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's done.